Okay, good evening. My name is Judy Sullivan. I need a motion to reopen the public portion of the meeting following our return from executive session.
So moved.
Mr. Bogdansky, thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Who was that? Is that you, Mr. Delate? Yes.
Mr. Bogdansky,
Here.
Mr. DeLate,
Here.
Ms. Emilo,
Here.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Koulikortis,
Here.
Dr. Lorenz,
Here.
Ms. Mariani,
Here.
Ms. Anch,
Here.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes. So that was just the motion on reopening. That was not roll call? You're going to do that for roll call? Okay. So then, Mrs. Zeno, would you mind doing the board president's announcement?
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of that act, the Business Administrative Board Secretary has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8B and guidance from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, Division of Local Government Services. In addition, please be aware that employees of the school district retain the right of privacy and shall retain all rights regarding the defamation and slander according to the laws of New Jersey. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. And in order to protect the privacy rights of employees in the district, the board shall not respond to statements made by the public of or about district employees.
Thank you so much. Could you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, everyone? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, that leads to the board president's report. Good evening and welcome to our August 28th, 2023 Board of Education meeting for the Ramapo Indian Hills Regional High School District. As I said before, my name is Judy Sullivan. I'm the president of the board. Thank you to our administration, staff, and faculty in both the preparation and the attendance for this meeting. Thank you also to our board members as well, and thank you to our superintendent and administrators in preparing for us this meeting, including the curriculum presentation tonight. Just a couple of notes. We did the facilities tours last week. Some of our board members and I went on facilities tours of both buildings, and we were able to see portions of each of the high school buildings. It was an informative experience, and I look forward to attending the last tour, which will occur this week. We enjoyed spending time with district leadership, including our superintendent, and hearing about building leadership visions and plans for each of the buildings. Thank you to the chair of the Facilities and Finance Committee, Ms. Emilo, for her work in guiding us through the process of participating in the tours. On the agenda tonight, curriculum, among other things. The board will be presented with the curriculum that is to be subject for approval. Policy allows for significant participation by our parents, guardians, and students in parts of the curriculum approval process. I did express some concern for the timeline and effective participation for comments I have heard by board members, hoping that we can continue to facilitate a process by which our students and parents and guardians can have more than a few weeks to give feedback to our administration. Courses are already selected at this point, and the students have already had courses put into their individualized education plans that is relevant to their placement needs. Also on the agenda is the topic of the superintendent. There are, as you probably saw, proposed resolutions for the approval of processes, if the board so chooses, amongst those processes or all of those processes to replace the superintendent who has tendered his resignation effective November 12, 2023. The board does not comment on personnel in public. For those of you in the public who make comments, please know the board will not respond because of this prohibition, other than thanking the superintendent for his work and dedication to the community as set forth in the agenda. There will not be more said. I thank Dr. Dionisio for his service on behalf of the board
to the district and for his hard work. We also wish you much good luck and success in your new position. For the resolution on the acting superintendent, there is a process by which an acting superintendent can be approved by the county superintendent, although we would likely have to demonstrate to the county superintendent we have an anchor plan. I make the same comment for the interim superintendent position. Please keep in mind the previous permanent superintendent had announced her retirement, I believe, in 2019. There was a lot more time to engage in the process by way of a committee review. Board Policy 1220 sets forth some of the terms and conditions under which a board can approve a new superintendent. I encourage you to read it. There was a proposal that was sent to the board from the previous search firm that helped us find Dr. Dionisio. I had circulated that to the board as well. Hopefully the board has an opportunity to look at that proposal, although we're not approving any proposals tonight, at least on the agenda as written. Again, I want to say the need for an anchor plan is permanent given the fact that interim leadership is not ideal because we do have a lot of work to do next year. Finding a new superintendent is the most important job we can do, and we should all do it together, all at once, and with urgency. I strongly recommend the board hire a search firm as soon as possible so the search firm can assist us in finding either a permanent and or interim superintendent at the same time if need be. Next year we have to renew our contracts with the RIHEA and the RIHSA. In addition, there's been a lot of discussion about block scheduling. As you heard in the superintendent's strategic plan, I saw a lot of planning for that when I went on the facilities tours as well. I also would like to continue to address the imbalance of enrollment between the two high schools, and we must engage our efforts in finding permanent leadership as a priority and acting or interim leadership on dual tracks. A search firm can help us with both of these choices, and I previously reported that I did explain what the board is trying to do to the county superintendent last week. This may be the last board meeting before school starts, so I wanted to wish the students much success and have a wonderful, wonderful start to the year. I actually started teaching myself at one of the universities. Students were very excited, and I'm sure our students will be similarly excited. Also wanted to welcome our staff back as they continue to come into the school and prepare for the students' arrival. Lots of activity I saw on the tours. Everything looks beautiful. Looking forward to seeing the students come back to school in the fall. So enjoy your new experiences and new adventures, and welcome to the graduating classes for senior year. And that concludes my board president's report. Next is the superintendent's report. Dr. Dionisio.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Good evening, everyone. I would like to first start off, unfortunately, on a somber note. I would just like to personally update the board and the community some news that some of you may have already heard from a number of weeks back. But I would like to personally update everyone on former Ramapo teacher Michael Cauda, who passed away peacefully on Wednesday, July 12th, surrounded by his loving family. Mike served the Ramapo Indian Hills community for many decades. He had an immense love for Ramapo High School, and his legacy remains deeply rooted in our community. As a Ramapo Hall of Fame coach, district head teacher for applied technology, and a fixture at Ramapo even after his retirement, his impact on our school has been profound. Please join me in keeping the Cauda family in your thoughts and memory. As we approach a new school year, I would like to share my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of our faculty and staff for your dedication, for your hard work, your unwavering commitment to our students and to their education. The past several months have been a testament to the incredible teamwork and passion that defines our school community. Our teachers and supervisors have invested in countless hours in crafting and refining our curriculum, ensuring that it aligns with the latest educational standards and best practices. Your dedication to providing our students with the tools they need to succeed is truly commendable. We are profoundly grateful for all of your efforts, and I really thank all of you, not only for being here tonight, but to you and to our teachers who made tonight possible and the incredible work that comes ahead, so thank you. To our administration and our support staff, Your tireless efforts behind the scenes have not gone unnoticed. Coordinating a smooth school opening involves a myriad of tasks, and your meticulous planning and execution have paved the way for a seamless transition to begin a new academic year. Your dedication to creating an environment where our students can thrive is invaluable and deeply appreciated. A special commendation goes out to our custodial and facilities team. Your dedication to maintaining clean, safe, and inviting learning spaces is critical in providing our students with the best possible environment for learning and growth. And as you walk the hallways throughout the buildings, you would be able to see firsthand, as our board members did last week, just how amazing our schools are starting to take shape. Hard work often goes unnoticed, but it is the foundation upon which our educational mission stands. Our summer construction projects are progressing exceptionally well. These projects will not only enhance our physical infrastructure, but also contribute to creating an enriched learning experience for our students. Thank you once again to everyone involved in your contributions to our students and their futures, and for embodying the true essence of teamwork and our school values. I wish everyone a successful and fulfilling school year ahead. And at this time, I invite the Board of Education to join me in the audience. We're going to ask that the IT department please pull down the screen as we transition to become ready for the curriculum presentation. And I'd like to invite Ms. McDermott, our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Articulation, along with our department supervisors as they present the curriculum updates this evening. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you in the audience who don't know me or at home, my name is Elizabeth McDermott, and I am the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Articulation for the district. And I am pleased to be sharing with you tonight's presentation along with our administrative and supervisory teams, and they'll be providing some important updates for you and insights on the curriculum that they had some oversight on. The yearly schedule for curriculum review, sharing with the public and Board of Education, and eventual board adoption has been established for numerous years and is consistent with practices in other school districts. This process commences each October with discussions centered around the development of the program of studies in collaboration with the administrative team. During late fall, the board reviews the preliminary program of studies, typically finalizing adoption in December or January. The program of studies is what guides the scheduling process for our students, as it indicates the courses which are going to be offered the following school year. From January to April, the team analyzes the needs of the district curriculum and proposes spring evaluation hours for specific courses. On the screen is a snapshot of the curriculum timeline for this year. Our district approach to the curriculum development process has two phases: spring evaluation and summer curriculum writing. The first phase of the spring curriculum evaluation was completed by June 30th. The second phase of the summer curriculum work is preferably complete by August 1st. The teams submit the documents to me for approval. If edits are needed, the documents are resubmitted to the team for additional work and revisions. The team will then review the feedback, make any necessary edits, and then resubmit for approval. Once I approve the curriculum, it is placed in a folder for the Board of Education to review. Once the board has had some time to review the documents and provide feedback, they're released to the public for their review and comment prior to a board meeting. This year we did those things simultaneously to allow for an additional time for the public to review the documents. They were emailed and posted on the district website beginning on August 10th, with all courses posted by August 21st for review and to collect public feedback if wanted. That brings us to tonight's presentation, where members of our leadership team will provide an overview of the new course curriculum work and also any revisions and updates to current courses. We have worked as a team on tonight's presentation, where we will share by department the program goals and outcomes, curriculum revision highlights, any new courses in specific departments, and points of pride to celebrate in our curriculum. I would like to publicly thank our dedicated teachers, supervisors, and administrators who play a significant role in the development of and the revision of our curriculum. The total number of hours for spring evaluation was 199, and the summer curriculum work was 862, investing 1,061 hours into curriculum development, enhancement, and revision, where the expertise of our educators translates into the teaching and learning that we have come to expect and appreciate for our students. Thank you to our teachers and supervisors for all of your efforts. We would like to note that the curriculum is a living document that evolves over time. That is what we see here tonight and why we have a curriculum cycle. Curriculum revision should be an ongoing, iterative process where we continuously plan, design, implement, analyze, assess, evaluate based on teacher and student feedback, community feedback, state standards, and also legislative requirements. So some of the main reasons why we would revise curriculum. The first one is that the New Jersey Student Learning Standards are revised and updated on a regular basis, and we want to ensure that our curriculum has the most up-to-date standards for our students. There are also requirements developed by state statutes. These statutes have various goals, and our curriculum teams have identified ways to integrate and apply these statutes into the curriculum where appropriate. The statutes are designed to foster an interdisciplinary approach, so climate change and world language curriculum may look different than in science, or diversity and inclusion may be implemented more regularly in an English class than in a math, but each statute is thoughtfully integrated in to support the standards. The adoption of new programs, resources, or textbooks may also drive curricular revisions. The district may also see the need to update the course offerings based on new research, interest for a new course, or based on trends in student performance. The district also receives feedback from state monitoring organizations and audits like NJQSAC to receive some updates and that may require some additional changes. The New Jersey Student Learning Standards have two main goals. The first is to prepare students for post-secondary success, and the second is to provide the foundation on which districts build coherent curriculum and plan instruction to prepare each New Jersey student with the knowledge and skills needed to succeed in a rapidly changing world. The standards draw on national and international models, as well as research and input from numerous resources, including educators from kindergarten through college, scholars, assessment developers, professional organizations, parents, students, and members of the public. The standards clearly demonstrate what students are expected to learn at a specific grade level and bands from preschool to 12th grade, and cover 9 different content standards. I would like to thank the community members that shared their feedback through the Google form that was shared and posted on the curriculum website. Questions from the community have arisen concerning inclusion of hyperlinked websites in the curriculum documents, a practice consistent in previous years. Historically, concerns have been expressed by community members about malfunctioning hyperlinks. One reason for this issue is the fact that these links from external third-party websites housing the referenced resources are no longer available. Acknowledging that the district lacks control over these external sites and resources, the prudent choice was made to eliminate hyperlinks. To resolve this, members of the public can copy and paste the terms from the curriculum into a search bar of their internet browser. This straightforward step will quickly guide them to the intended resource document, circumventing the necessity for functional hyperlinks. The second reason for this issue is that some of the resources are subscription-based online learning programs that are not available to the general public. The programs are listed so that you can review the program and its intended application in the classroom. So I showed here 2 different examples from English 1 and Algebra 1 CP, which were recently done this year, where a text is put into Google and then that text pops up as the first choice. The same thing for math, the NJ DOE item library, if anyone's ever been in there for English or math, there's a lot of clicks. So to get to where a resource might be for a teacher, you put in NJ DOE item library, it'll be the first click, and you can go through and pick the grade level, math, English, and see some of the previous resources that our teachers might be looking at that were on NJ GPA tests or NJ, now I'm forgetting the assessment we give, SLA, thank you so much. And they can pull those resources as well for that grade level and that specific type of assessment. The other 2 you see up here is Common Lit, which is a program that we have just purchased subscriptions to, as well as ALEX, which aligns with our Algebra 1 course textbook. And both of those are subscription-based. You can go on and click around and see what a teacher would normally see. There, but you wouldn't be able to really click all the way in to see what kinds of problems would be actually assigned by that instructor. Additional questions from the community have addressed the placement the New Jersey legislative mandates within the curriculum. The New Jersey Department of Education has developed a system called Quality Single Accountability Continuum Process, or QSAC, to ensure that all school districts provide a thorough and efficient education In addition to those mandates, there are also standards that reference climate change that may be incorporated in a unit. Those standards are also listed among the interdisciplinary standards within appropriate curriculum documents. I would now like to turn the presentation over to our supervisors who are going to share by each department, and our first one up is Applied Tech. Yeah. Okay. We're going to ignore that.
Okay, we're going to do it. I wanted to check. I was thinking it. I know plenty of you were thinking it. Okay. Siri is always listening anyway. Good evening, everyone. My name is Claudia D'Argento. I'm starting first by apologizing for my voice. I don't know what's happening, but something's happening, so I apologize. I am the assistant principal at Indian Hills High School, and I'm also proudly the district supervisor, along with Mr. Guido, for Applied Technology. The program goals and outcomes of the Applied Technology Department focus on an application and the implementation of math, science, and technology to solve problems. In all applied technology courses, our teachers encourage students to develop their critical thinking potential in an environment emphasizing technology literacy and practical life skills. Ultimately, the courses in our program encourage students to use their imagination, their judgment, and reasoning skills. Throughout the spring and summer, the Structured Learning Experience course was our one course that was updated in order to reflect the skills and demands that meet the requirements of the current job market. This course is open only to seniors, and it provides classroom instruction every other day in conjunction with a daily component of on-site work experience. Course activities include designing competitive resumes and the use of resume exposing platforms such as LinkedIn, as well as job market searches on Indeed. The individual OSHA certification course is another new component that will be completed by each student, focusing on workplace safety in a wide variety of work sites. The vision of the SLE course has shifted from simply finding a job to creating job opportunities that appropriately match each student's skills and interests while keeping the demands of the job market at the forefront. Our students at Ramapo and Indian Hills enjoy the opportunity to engage in hands-on learning within our unique classroom settings, like our wood shops and our computer-aided design classrooms. Our teachers encourage global thinking, creative problem solving, and decision-making, as well as an opportunity to prepare students for the world of work as a capstone to their academic day. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Karen Davidson, the supervisor of the multilingual program, the English department, and the Media Center at Indian Hills.
And I'm Nancy Blomquist. I'm the supervisor of English and the Media Center at Ramapo High School. The goal of the English curriculum is to provide students with opportunities to work and practice with various forms of text, presentation, and writing so that they themselves can grow as readers, writers, communicators, and especially as thinkers. The core of what we do is to help students recognize the power of language and communication so they can effectively navigate the world around them. And since this world is constantly changing, the curriculum document is regularly revised to address these changes.
This year's revision focused solely on 9th grade English courses. Our first revision included adopting a new curriculum template to move towards a more uniform approach to the curriculum. Then, in order to accommodate the change from a 7.5 to 5 credit core English class, we had to streamline content. We did not add any new text to the required reading. Instead, we reallocated time to ensure a balance of mentor text and student choice reading while maintaining our focus on writing. Previously, the freshman English course was one 7.5 credit class, an everyday class with an additional connected lab period every other day. We split this 7.5 credit course into one 5 credit class which runs each day, and a separate co-requisite 2.5 credit class that runs every other day. We created a new curriculum for this co-requisite called the Literacy Lab.
So as Mrs. Davidson just noted, this new lab class will meet every other day, and essentially it will allow time for students to practice ELA skills through both group and individualized instruction. In other words, while there will be prepared whole class lessons, there will also be time for students to receive individualized support on their own coursework that involves literacy skills. In effect, the lab will not only support students in their current classes, but it will also help them prepare for success on the various state and standardized assessments, as well as for meeting the expectations of graduation readiness.
Our points of pride continue to be our staff. Our teachers love to teach. In addition to that, our teachers are active practitioners of their subject. They are authors, journalists, playwrights, editors, and avid readers. And this vast experience helps them to bring the curriculum to life and to create relevant learning experiences for our students. We're also very proud that our program allows a good deal of student choice, whether it's the independent books students select to read or the essay topics they choose to write about. Our curriculum allows students to explore their interests. Likewise, the array of elective offerings in our program provides something for everyone. We continue to be so proud of our students who take advantage of these opportunities to expand their horizons. They are at the center of our course offerings. We believe that writing is thinking on paper, and we are proud of our program's focus on writing. Our former students are so excited to tell us how prepared they were for the writing expectations after high school. We have had students serve as writing tutors as freshmen in college, and several students who have even been published. But all students, even those who don't plan to major in English or publish a book, benefit from our writing program. Our final point of pride is that our program is organized and scaffolded to build rigor, beginning with our freshmen. With students predominantly coming from 3 flow schools, we work to build the foundations of academic study and studentship to help ensure success for the following years. Our program aligns with and is based on student growth from 9th grade to 12th grade, building on academic skills each year.
Good evening. I am Amanda Zelenkevich, the supervisor of mathematics and business at Indian Hills High School.
And I am Mike Kaplan, supervisor of mathematics and business at Ramapo High School. Our mathematical goals are to further support students' mathematical thinking and reasoning, while also identifying potential areas in need of intervention or enrichment. We continue to pride ourselves on the opportunities for students to progress through our course offerings in various ways to best support their individual goals and mathematical strengths. New courses have been developed to meet student needs, best support student college preparation, and provide additional opportunities to students, and we are excited to share these courses and updates with you this evening.
Our curriculum evaluation and development teams this year made updates to several of our courses based on student and teacher feedback and student performance data. For our pre-calculus CPE and calculus CPE courses, teachers reordered concepts to improve flow of instruction and best align with the student calendar. They also refocused timing on concepts that have shifted in their use in post-secondary education. Our college algebra and statistics and advanced math application teams reevaluated their existing college preparation units to align with shifts in college introductory math courses and to best support student success working with applied skills and placement examinations. One of our largest modifications came from the reorganization of our Algebra 1 CP, which was formerly a 7.5 credit course, to 2 courses, Algebra 1 CP, which is 5 credits, and an Algebra 1 CP lab, which is 2.5 credits. This split will help to provide students opportunities to work with various teacher and student groups on their skill development and strengthening their Algebra 1 concepts. The main Algebra 1 instruction will occur in the 5 credit course, and the 2.5 credit course will be for additional group instruction and individualized support for our Algebra 1 CP students.
We examined student performance data and trends on both the NJSLA and NJGPA and are incorporating 2 new programs into our courses. The ALEX program will be used with all students in our Algebra 1 courses. This program will help to identify students' current fluency with mathematical concepts, reasoning, and modeling, as well as assist in strengthening these skills while the students progress through the Algebra 1 curriculum. We are excited about ways that this tool can further support both our intervention and enrichment strategies in the classroom. We are also introducing the use of Delta Math in our math courses. The use of Delta Math will further expose students to mathematical manipulations online and how to work with math and technology. This is of growing importance with both state assessments and other testing moving to an online format. This tool will help connect their current learning with the use of applicable technology in a more formalized way. We're also excited to share with you our 3 new courses: Academic Skills Improvement Program, Multilingual Pre-Algebra, and AP Pre-Calculus, that we will discuss in more detail now.
The Academic Skills Improvement Program is a course designed for students who have not yet met a New Jersey mathematics testing requirement for graduation. This course helps to target individual learning and skill development and prepares students for various opportunities to meet the testing requirement. Students can meet their testing requirement during a fall administration of the NJGPA with the use of the AccuPlacer testing or in the preparation of a mathematics task portfolio to be submitted by the state. This 2.5 credit course is for senior students, and they are required to remain in the course until they meet that graduation testing requirement. Our next new course is Multilingual Pre-Algebra. As our multilingual population continues to grow, we have found the need to create a program to best support their individual progress and preparation for Algebra 1. This new course provides an opportunity for small group and individualized instruction to help students develop and strengthen skills so that they can be successful in Algebra 1 the following year. This course was developed based on student and teacher feedback and data regarding student performance and individualized interventions necessary to support student success.
Our last new course for this year is AP Pre-Calculus. We replaced our Pre-Calculus Honors course with AP Pre-Calculus by making modifications to our sequencing and curriculum based on AP resources from the College Board. This is the first year that College Board is offering AP Pre-Calculus. We're excited to be offering this opportunity to our students immediately. We would like to highlight what we are most proud of within our mathematics department. To start, our staff. Our teachers have continued to collect and analyze data and information regarding student progress, introduce ideas and supports to help students find success, and take on the challenge of creating classrooms that are engaging and encouraging to all students. This curriculum time has provided opportunities for these teachers to review pacing, analyze resources, discuss concerns, and make updates to the curriculum to better address the educational needs of our students. We will now have a program in place to best support our multilingual learners who are transitioning into our school from various backgrounds and experiences. The development of the new multilingual pre-algebra curriculum allows for the strengthening and development of key skills that students will need to find success in future math courses and in the further development of mathematical reasoning and modeling skills. With feedback gathered from both teachers and students, we have developed a program that allows for small group instruction to assist these students. We are very excited to be able to better support our students and provide them with the intervention and support needed to move into algebra.
Data analysis and resource exploration has also been key to our curriculum this past spring and summer. Analyzing student performance data on the NJSLA and NJGPA for common trends, gathering student feedback on assessments and skills, and completing research on various programs to support students and staff has been instrumental. There are various programs available, but we were looking to begin to streamline some of the experience of our students by having some consistent technology used throughout the department. We have identified 2 programs that will be part of our supports this year: the ALEX program for Algebra 1 students and Delta Math for all courses. These programs will help to familiarize students with the concept of working with mathematical concepts and arguments online, while also reinforcing curricular goals and providing supports and intervention opportunities. Much of our curriculum goals and discussions were in regards to utilizing various resources, supports, and strategies to best support students' individual learning and mathematical reasoning development. A few of our new courses, Academic Skills Improvement Program, Multilingual Pre-Algebra, and Algebra 1 CP Lab, focus on the idea of individualized learning experiences centered around key concepts and skills, the goal of which is to develop numeracy and modeling skills with our students that can be applicable in many future fields of study or career paths. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. I'm Angela Manzi, District Supervisor of Science and the University Programs in Science, Medicine, and Research, and Engineering and Design. Our science programming goals are anchored in fostering our students' innate curiosities, We invite them to question and observe the natural world, to think and act like a scientist. Students learn by doing, through experimentation to develop science and engineering practices as they dive into interesting phenomena to build scientific literacy and stronger critical thinking skills, enabling our students to make informed decisions regarding their lives and the impact their choices may have on the world around them, both now and in the future. During the past 2 years, the science curriculum revisions focused on newly revised student learning standards. This summer, the goals were a bit different. The objectives for revision work focused on creating 4 new courses that continue to embed the New Jersey student learning standards in science through 3-dimensional planning and instructional practices, while providing additional opportunities for enriching and supportive learning experiences. 3 of the 4 new courses from science this year lead to pathways that foster career connections and exploration. 2 of the new courses in science are part of the district-approved aviation program through AOPA, our partners who provide curriculum resources and teacher training. This 4-year program is designed for students to learn aviation concepts and skills to prepare and sit for industry credential exams. The new courses are the 4th year in the sequence for students pursuing the pilot aviation pathway. Semester 1, Pre-Flight Your Career, prepares students to examine aviation careers and advanced aviation topics. The focus then turns to business development opportunities in aviation, concluding during semester 2 with a capstone experience. The capstone course is the culmination of the student learning experience. Students will demonstrate an understanding of a contemporary topic in aviation as it relates to flying through guided student research and presentations, fostering student choice and differentiation during learning. We've also worked to enhance our supports for multilingual learners through the creation of the Science Department's first multilingual course, Multilingual CP Chemistry. This new chemistry course provides scaffolded supports for our multilingual learners through a conceptual and thematic approach to chemistry. The curriculum revision work was an interdisciplinary project with science teachers in collaboration with our ELL specialists within the district to develop curriculum that will support instructional practices for students from different language backgrounds and afford them equitable access to engage with challenging science and engineering content. We've also worked to restructure our course credits in the university program in Science, Medicine, and Research at Indian Hills. Students will be provided with an additional opportunity by doing so for dual enrollment with a new partner, Quinnipiac University. Students will broaden their understanding of health science career opportunities through the introduction of key concepts necessary to work in a variety of healthcare professions, alongside exposure to valuable career skills that will improve their employability and lay a foundation for further advanced studies in the field of health sciences. Students will explore and research healthcare careers through topics such as data collection, job outlook predictions, goal setting, and building communication and presentation skills for the workplace. The department's responsiveness to students' emerging needs has driven our staff to create new courses this year. Our new courses are designed to provide students choices from diverse elective options to pursue personal interests, challenge themselves, and foster career exploration through opportunities to earn college credits or prepare for professional credentialed exams. The interdisciplinary collaboration with our teaching staff provides and creates an environment for our English language learners, one in which our multilingual students will be asking scientific questions, seeking evidence, and researching answers through engaging, hands-on learning experiences that have scaffolded support in place for our English language learners. The new courses provide for opportunities to individualize, personalize, and differentiate learning through meaningful real-world connections that enhance our students' voices, leadership and ownership of learning and science, and supporting our learners from all programs, including specialized areas such as the university programs, dual enrollment, aviation electives, and courses for our multilingual learners. Thank you so much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Marla Burns. I'm the District Supervisor of Special Education Instruction.
Hi, I'm Susan Confrancisco, and I'm the Supervisor of Special Programs.
I'm Rich Burton. I'm the District Supervisor of Health, Physical Education, and Visual Art.
The overarching goal of special services is to make the curriculum accessible to all of our students, regardless of his or her disability, physical, cognitive, learning, or emotional. When we talk specifically about the Transition Self-Contained Program, our goal is to help students with moderate cognitive or significant learning disabilities understand the world around them and develop a healthy lifestyle for living independently at the age of 21. The transition students take a different standardized assessment that tracks individual growth in a subject area called the DLM. That allows the teacher to tailor the content and curriculum to the individual needs of that student. All curriculum addresses the broad standards for the grade level and the major concepts. Within our curriculum revisions for adaptive health and PE, students within this program span multiple grades. Therefore, the curriculum follows a years 1 through 4 instead of grades 9 through 12. All the curriculum standards in Health 9 through 12 is covered in Adaptive Health 1 through 4.
Our Adaptive Health and PE curriculum update will provide our students with activities and experiences that will elevate their interest in pursuing a lifelong interest in maintaining a healthy and active lifestyle while acquiring new techniques and skills. With the district's updated and more open fitness center spaces, our programs now correlate directly with current healthy trends in personal fitness that our students will hopefully utilize after graduation and beyond.
Another course that we revised this summer was called IAG. It's our Integrated Algebra and Geometry. This course is designed to enhance concepts from pre-algebra, Algebra 1, and basic geometry. The purpose of the course is to strengthen student skills so they will be successful in Algebra 1. This course is offered as a resource replacement course for our incoming 9th graders. Students are still required to take Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 as they are the requirements for graduation. This course also provides the needed background knowledge and skill acquisition to allow them to succeed in Algebra 1.
The Social Studies CP curriculum consists of 3 courses: World History, US 1, and US 2. US 1 and 2 American History are typically taken sophomore and junior year. The Special Education Resource Room program also follows this sequence. The Transitions program is a specialized program for students with greater needs. The Transitions Social Studies curriculum is spread over 3 years, but addresses broad issues with less depth. Time is spent relating it to how these past events impact our world today. The pacing is modified and allows the time needed for lots of repetition, access to activities that tap into multiple learning styles and modalities, and specialized methods of teaching. The goal is to teach students how to be productive citizens in their community. At the CP and CPE levels, students are using primary texts, making inferences, and drawing conclusions. At the transitions level, the students are using secondary sources that include summaries and videos with narration to supplement and illustrate the text. The Thrive Study and Organization Skills class provides students with direct instruction on personal self-help and study skills to facilitate academic success in all classes. It also provides time during the day to schedule weekly group and individual counseling with the goals of improved emotional regulation, school functioning, and school attendance. The woodshop and home repair course was newly developed in response to parent feedback regarding life skills that are now relevant but not taught to students in the Transitions or New Horizons programs. This course covers basic knowledge and use of tools such as an Allen wrench, Phillips flathead screwdrivers, hammer, for home maintenance. The ultimate learning outcomes will afford our young adult students with a variety of skills that they will need as adults. For example, putting together a piece of furniture that requires assembly. Our points of pride in our special ed courses. Specialized courses present the same broad topics as covered in the grade level standards. However, the topics are broken down into lessons that are commensurate with the students' ability levels. The resources used are multisensory, high interest, and differentiated for the target audience. We continue to engage all stakeholders in conversations to modify and create new courses to truly meet all of our students' needs. And finally, we strive to make connections with the goal of students understanding more about themselves, their community, and the world in which we live. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Keely Legore, and I'm the supervisor of our University Program in International Studies and Business at Indian Hills High School.
And I'm Amanda Zelnikevich, the supervisor of Mathematics and Business at Indian Hills High School.
The program goal for our UPISB is twofold. First, we want to engage students in the study of global affairs and business through the use of critical thinking and reasoning strategies. Second, we want our students to apply their knowledge, understanding, and ideas to real-world case studies. Many of our program graduates go on to study business, economics, international relations, or pre-professional track in college. As a result, the intended outcome of our UPISB is to help students prepare for college-level studies in business and IR through a mastery of 21st century skills: critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Throughout the course of the 2022-2023 academic year, we gathered data through the use of student and teacher feedback on the curriculum, as well as a close examination of our existing curriculum inclusive of instructional and assessment strategies. This summer, we revised one UPISB course, Managerial Business Decisions and Accounting, which is for our 12th grade UPISB students. While the course is a part of our UPISB, it is taught by a business teacher and thus truly an interdisciplinary and cross-curricular class. For those who are familiar with our past curriculum documents, you will notice a change in the overall appearance of the documents. However, if you've been following along with the curriculum writing process over the past year, you will notice that this document template now mirrors that of our other social studies and UPISB courses. The NJSLS and legislative requirements have been updated and are found in two places: the scope and sequence and within the units of study. Our teams reviewed the content topics within each unit of study, cross-referenced them with the NJSLS and recent lessons taught within the classroom that students found engaging and/or teachers found to be essential. All of the components of the unit of study culminate in the suggested learning activities. These are not required activities, but suggestions, meant to inspire lessons and activities for the classroom, but not be restrictive. Each suggested learning activity is aligned with an NJSLS and, where applicable, the New Jersey legislative requirements. When reflecting on instructional practices and learning activities, our curriculum teams use the teacher and student feedback. There was clear support to continue project-based learning and assess in varied ways.
The most notable request made by students for this course was a better balance between accounting and managerial business decisions. Using this feedback, the course has been updated to guide students through the various aspects of business while connecting them to other coursework in their UP-ISB program. This update will allow students to experience various perspectives and analyze various departments within a business, allowing them to gain a better understanding for what subfield of business they may be more interested in. While there are many points of pride within our Ramapo Indian Hills, we are most proud of our teachers and curriculum. Our teachers have proven their dedication to our students through expanding their own professional knowledge, working to create and revise engaging lessons focused on managerial business and accounting topics, decision-making skills, transferable business and communication skills, and assessing in ways that make sense in their course. Our teachers have been active participants in our curriculum revision process and have worked to create a balanced course that better addresses accounting and managerial business concepts. We are very fortunate to work with a team that has a shared goal to help students learn about various topics of global interest, apply their thinking to real-world case scenarios, and help develop 21st century skills. And while it should go without saying, we are incredibly lucky to work with such fantastic students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Erica McGavin. I'm the Supervisor of World Languages and Family Consumer Science at Indian Hills High School.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Thomas. I'm the Supervisor of World Languages and Family Consumer Sciences at Ramapo High School. This past summer, we had the opportunity to revise one course and develop 2 new courses in the World Languages department. The entire World Language program was redeveloped in July 2021, with revisions to 26 courses in the summer of 2022. The department continues to focus on the interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational modes of communication, a true emphasis on what the students can do while using the target language. Our program goal continues to be for our students to communicate effectively while making cultural comparisons. In the summer of 2022, we developed an Intro to Spanish course for the students of our Transitions program. The driving force behind our changes was the data that we collected throughout the year, student and teacher feedback, and formative and summative assessment results.
From here, after much discussion with our teachers, the students, the Special Services Department, and the Director of Curriculum, there was a desire to take a long look at the scope and sequence, pacing, unit topics, essential questions, activities, and assessments within our Intro to Spanish course. After reviewing the input from the students and the teachers, which was provided throughout the year, the curriculum team made the necessary revisions. All of the revisions were centralized around our student learning needs. Examples of revisions include revision to the pacing, scope, and sequence, a revision of essential questions and can-do statements. Additional tech integration and authentic resources were included in almost all units of study. Additional student learning activities, integrated performance assessments to engage the learner in authentic application of the language through real-life scenarios using authentic resources such as infographics, articles, audio, and video clips that have natural ties to each unit. The curriculum review and revision process was indeed a labor of love and could not be done without the outstanding collaboration of our teachers, those who worked on the documents, and those who participated in evaluation meetings leading up to the summer curriculum workshops.
In addition to revising the Intro to Spanish course, renamed Intro to Spanish Year 1, we also developed a curriculum for 2 new courses, Intro to Spanish Year 2, and a course titled Spanish for Spanish Speakers. The courses were developed based upon student and teacher feedback and the desire to offer courses to meet the diverse needs of our students. The Intro to Spanish Year 2 course is a continuation of the Intro to Spanish Year 1 course. It is a 2.5 credit elective for students in our transitions program. The course will be taught at the novice low proficiency level. This course will build upon the foundation skills introduced in the Year 1 course. The Year 2 course is created with the modifications and support in mind to help promote everyday skills with a focus on learning the Spanish language and culture. We are looking to promote confidence, social growth, and the development of employable skills, and an appreciation and knowledge of other cultures. The Spanish for Spanish Speakers course is designed specifically for the students in our ELL program. This unique course will focus on Literacy 1 skills that need further development in the student's native language. The course is designed to use authentic resources to further develop communicative competencies in the interpersonal, interpretive, and presentational modes of communication. The course will be taught at the intermediate mid-proficiency level and will hone on the skills of the interpretive reading and presentational writing skills in the Spanish language. There is a heightened focus on cultural comparisons and a further development on spontaneous dialogue regarding opinions and abstract ideas used in everyday conversation.
Narrowing down the points of pride in our department is a difficult task. Trust me, we could talk all night, but this has been a long presentation. I promise you we are the final act. And before our friends upstairs cue the music to get us off the stage, we just wanted to share what makes us the most proud. First, we couldn't do any of our magic without our teachers and students. Their love of the language, culture, and dedication to the profession is endless, and oftentimes their enthusiasm gets the students excited about exploring a new language and a new culture. We continue to engage all stakeholders in conversations to modify and create new courses to truly meet the needs of all of our students, as evidenced by the work we did this summer. We pride ourselves on using authentic resources to complement and enhance our program. In the classrooms, we provide an opportunity for the students to think critically and take risks while using the target language. And lastly, we strive to make connections and cultural comparisons with the goal of students understanding more about themselves, their heritages, and their family traditions as we explore and learn about other cultures, all while using the target language. This concludes our presentation, and at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. McDermott.
Thank you again to all of our supervisors, administrators, and teaching faculty for all of the work they've done over the past several months to review, reflect, and revise our curriculum based on the feedback and insights from our staff and from our community. This work is so important as it drives the tremendous amount of teaching and the level of expectations that we have for our students and for our community. So thank you again for all your hard work. The slide deck presentation will be up on the website available tomorrow, so that is available to everyone if you would like to go back and review any of the key points.
At this point, first, I'd like to also just once again commend Ms. McDermott, our supervisors, administrators, and all of our teachers for a tremendous job. As you can see, it's an incredible amount of work over 1,000 hours in order to be able to put this together. And the fruits of their labor will translate into the amazing education that all of our students and your children receive. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the Board of Education if there are any questions specific to the presentation this evening.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McDermott, thank you. Everybody associated, faculty, staff, I greatly appreciate all your hard work. As chair of the Education and Personnel Committee, I'm really proud, very, very proud, and I can't thank you enough. So I know it's a lot of work and dedication, but I think you're doing a great job, so thank you. As a graduate from Wallington High School just a couple years ago, I can honestly say that the curriculum here is just a tad more robust. I can honestly say that. I do have a couple questions.
Of course.
You ready? Okay.
I hope so.
Can you kind of explain the process? I know you had kind of a timeline a little bit earlier about how you identify subjects, either to create a new subject or to revise. When does that process start, and how do you go about fashioning, so basically the timeline from start to finish?
Absolutely. So it really begins in the fall with our program of studies, and we really look at a number of things. The first is we have a dedicated curriculum revision cycle, and that curriculum revision cycle is established. It was on a 3-year cycle. We made some edits to possibly move it to a 4-year cycle, and specifically for this year, math and English were up for revision, but the state standards for math and English are being revised currently and must be implemented September 2024. So as a district, we said, while that's in our cycle, it doesn't align with the state's. There's no reason to put all of that investment into revising English and math this year when we would have to do it again. So we held off on that. And so that's why some of the courses that you would see in that curriculum revision cycle are not up here. So that's the main thing that we follow is that curriculum revision cycle. The other part is, as you heard today, we really tried to look at what are the needs of our students. We have a growing population of our multilingual learners, and we found that as we were going through the courses that we have, they were falling through the cracks in certain areas. They were coming to us with different levels of education and experiences, and the traditional coursework that we had here wasn't really meeting their needs. So in a number of conversations with our supervisors, we really felt that that was some of the courses that we really felt like we needed to add in there and that were proposed a part of that program of studies in the fall. We also take a look at how we're doing on our state assessments. So we had our state assessment data in the fall, and we could see there were some areas that we wanted to work on and knew that those courses were something that we really wanted to prioritize, specifically our Algebra 1 CP course. On top of that, we have some district goals, and some of those district goals were really about increasing or establishing really inclusion classrooms where we have a special education teacher and a general education teacher in all of our 9th grade core academic subjects. In order for us to support that, we really did have to take a look at our structure for English 1 and also for that Algebra 1 because they were also 7.5 credits. So those are some of the conversations that we have in the fall to really say, what are the needs of our students? Are we meeting them? Are the courses that we're offering going to enhance their experience here, or are there some adjustments that are going to be made on top of that regular revision cycle? We propose them in the program of studies. We go through a little bit of an overview with that in our education committee, and then those courses are what is proposed to our students for options for them when it comes to scheduling their classes. At the same time, we started in February putting forward spring evaluation hours so that we could look at the courses that we had on the books, like our English 1 courses, or some of our math courses, and we take a look and see what are some of the changes that we might need to make, some of the revisions. Our teachers apply to be a part of that, and they become part of those conversations. And then starting July 1st, we have all of our courses approved for summer curriculum evaluation hours, and we begin the writing process. So starting July 1st, our teacher teams can meet virtually and they collaborate on that curriculum development. We gave them a deadline for August 1st, and that August 1st they come to my desk or by then so that I can take a look at all of them, make some suggestions, revisions, or say good to go, and then it's shared with the board. Because of our tighter timeline and interest from the board to share that at the same time with the community, we were able to do that this year and shared publicly. We shared via email and then posted on the website the curriculum revisions starting August 10th. There were a couple stragglers in there, just we wanted to give some additional feedback and make sure we really got it right with all of them, so that what you saw was what we were really proud to put out there. And then the community had the opportunity to provide feedback through that Google form, and some people emailed me directly, or we've had conversations, and then we're here tonight. So that's kind of the whole process.
Well, that was a long-winded
Yeah, sorry.
answer. No. I think you hit it all.
People are getting
Thank
up and
you.
leaving. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you touched on this a little earlier, but I think it's really important because I think it was kind of a bone of contention with a lot of the community.
Absolutely.
Why were links removed? And why do some links that are still available bring up a sign-in page?
Right. So links are not present on the current curriculum documents for the reason that we can't control where that link takes you. They're from third-party websites, organizations, and in the past those links have changed, and it also, I understand people's concern is that it lacks transparency from us that we're not showing you directly, but then it also lacks transparency when those links go nowhere. And that way we felt that if we put the text in that our teachers are looking at the YouTube to find the videos, or if they're looking at certain text, they can put that right into Google, and we really should be seeing the exact resource that the teacher would also see. And then if you're going to a program like Alex that was mentioned, or Delta Math or Common Lit, that is going to ask you for a login, and that's because we pay for individual subscriptions or for a district subscription to those for our staff to have. Some of them have free resources that you can definitely look into, but we want to make sure our staff has the robust level of that program and can provide our students with lots of different resources that are included in those. So you can play around and kind of take a look and watch some of the intro videos, but you're not going to see what one of our staff members actually sees in those programs.
Thank you. Talking about links, some people in the community, I know, wrote some emails. They were pretty detailed regarding the links for the resources that are hidden or housed. So, or maybe a Google form. So can you talk a little bit more about the resources? Is there a particular link that brings you somewhere where teachers can find stuff that parents can't?
Not that I know of. Like a magic door sort of thing? Okay. To my understanding, no. And of course, teachers are going to share resources amongst themselves. A teacher creates something, I found this really amazing video, here are the questions that I created for it. They're going to share that because their colleagues, they want their teachers and their colleagues to have a wonderful experience like they're creating in their classroom. And we really do want there to be shared experiences among the staff of who's taking English 9 and who's doing these amazing things. So there's definitely going to be shared resources that are not out there. As I also mentioned, the curriculum revision cycle was every 3 years. And so in those 3 years, there's going to be resources that are not directly linked on that curriculum document. Things change, our practices change. We didn't have Common Lit 3 years ago, and that's a wonderful resource that has developed and changed, right? So we want things to be evolving, and we want there to be teachers developing materials and resources that are meeting the needs of our students in our classrooms that are not going to be directly tied. I will say though, according to our policy, it does say that if there's resources that are being used in instruction that are not a part of the curriculum document, it does ask the teacher to highlight that, and the supervisors do review lesson plans every week. Okay, so there is a level of supervision that's there that is provided by our supervisory team to support our teachers in making decisions that provide a balanced education for our students.
No magic door?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I've only been here a year though, so maybe they
Okay.
haven't given me the key.
All right, report back to me,
Okay,
please.
sounds good.
They're going to get harder.
Okay.
Is 1619 project being taught? If so, to what extent? And are opposing viewpoints introduced for diversity?
No, 1619 project is not taught. And opposing viewpoints for diversity. So I just don't want this to be confused if we're talking about 1619 project. There are standards in the curriculum, in the social studies, New Jersey state standards for social studies that ask teachers to provide primary sources about slavery. Our teachers are required to provide case studies and primary sources around that experience. So they are required to do that by state standard. Opposing viewpoints, specifically for 1619 project, there's plenty out there, right? That is something that is developed by one company with their perspective that we are not teaching in our schools. When it comes to opposing viewpoints on slavery, though, right, I do think that as a world, we've come to the understanding that slavery is something that should not exist, and that there isn't really something that we can provide to kind of offset that, except for, at the time, what people's understanding of the economic benefit of using that was, right? So I'm sure that is played into in our social studies classes. So I think for that particular, I have a hard time understanding what the counterbalance would that be. But I think on a normal issue, our teachers do provide balanced resources that can provide multiple different viewpoints so that students are the ones coming to conclusions on their own and are developing their own critical thinking skills to decide what the outcome, perspective, issue should really be, and having those lively discussions within their classroom based on a number of resources and perspectives that they can draw from.
Thank you very much. Getting towards the end here.
Okay.
Is CRT or DEI being taught? Can you explain state mandates and how and to what extent controversial topics are introduced, and to what extent?
CRT is not taught. In terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, that is included in our curriculum. It is a state mandate for diversity and inclusion. I can share with anyone the link directly, but it does ask for us to provide experience for our students to understand economic disparity, people with disabilities, race, religion, gender, and we do put that within the curriculum at places that are appropriate, that are aligned with the standards, and expose our students to people that are different than them and broaden their horizons. In terms of how often it's taught, I think that the teachers really have the opportunity within the examples provided in the curriculum to really pull from and see what is really meeting the needs of our students. For instance, there's a number of different texts that are suggested learning texts in our English 9 curriculum that deal with people with disabilities. And the number of those that a teacher might select could really depend on the class, their interest, particular student's interest, and we do allow that professional decision making to be up to the teacher to decide that. But in terms of diversity and inclusion, yes, we do include that in our curriculum. As you heard tonight, there's a lot of different types of students in our schools, and we want to make sure that people feel welcome here, and we want to make sure that our students are getting what they need from us in order to have the education that they deserve. So I think that that's really important. I don't think I was going to get a round of applause.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Last question. So if a parent has a concern about a topic, a subject matter, what is your availability for the parents that may have these concerns? What would they do? What would their actions be?
Okay. So love a good chain of command, okay? So I think first you would talk to the teacher about it, right? What was presented, what was the conversation like, email, phone call, whatever floats. Then I think if you have a greater concern, you're going to bring it to the supervisor of that department where they can have a conversation. As you heard tonight, they are the subject specialists. They have a deep understanding of the content, the standards that they're supposed to be meeting, as well as the resources that are provided for their staff. And then I'm available after that as well. I definitely don't shy away from the conversations. I think that I want to make sure that people feel comfortable with obviously the education that's being provided and proud of it as well. So we have teachers and supervisors and myself who are very capable of having those conversations and welcome them and make sure that you understand what's going on in the classroom.
Thank you. I sense a lot of passion, and nothing great can happen without a lot of passion, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else on the board? Did I steal everybody's thunder? I apologize.
Thank you so much, and thank you. Here you go. Is there a formal process for gathering student feedback? I heard a lot of the supervisors mentioning that. I know as an instructor myself, we actually have a third party that gathers student feedback. Do we have such a program, or is it really just sort of anecdotal or as teachers and supervisors report?
Teachers and supervisors do ask for their feedback, especially within some of our programming about what the needs of the students are, how that's being met. We don't have a system currently that would survey the student body as a whole to see where their interests are. I definitely know as a part of the strategic plan, that's definitely been a conversation of how we do that, because some of it is evaluating our program, some of it is looking at what do the students want to be, and that next level of curriculum and instruction for us. So I don't think that's out of the realm. It's just that we don't currently have a full system. Yes.
I didn't have a question. I just had a comment. I just wanted to thank all of you. The substance is valuable, but the passion, I think Mr. Badansky just mentioned it, the inspiration and the motivation that is clear in these slides and the conversations that you're having with all of us is incredibly appreciated. I can't see all of your faces, but thank you. Thank you, Ms. McDermott, and thank you for your leadership, Dr. Dionisio.
Thank you, Ms. McDermott, for such a wonderful presentation. All of the supervisors, you all did an amazing job. It was an effective presentation. I think you hit on all of the points. Thank you, Mr. Bogdansky, for all of your questions. I just have one more. About how many feedback forms do you think, or did you receive this go around? I know last year there were very few. This year, were there more?
So we had 22 in total. A couple of them were not from our community members. They were from all around the state, but 22 in total.
Thank you very much, and
You're
thank you all again for your time.
Okay, thank you again, Ms. McDermott. Thank you, supervisors, to all our teachers. Thank you, everybody in the audience, for your patience. If any members of the public have any comments regarding curriculum, that will be open during the first public comment section this evening as we come back up to the stage. So thank you again. We're going to do our transition back up to the stage, so give us a few moments.
All right, next item on the agenda is the interim, I'm sorry, Dr. Dionisio, did you have anything else for the superintendent's report?
I do not, thank you.
Okay. The next item is the interim business administrator's report, so we look to Ms. Dorazino for that.
Good evening, Ms. Sullivan. Ms. Emelo and I have discussed the report this evening, and because it's related to our committee meeting last week, I'm going to defer to when she presents her comments.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. We now go to board committee reports. So first up is the chair of athletics, arts, extracurriculars, and communications, and that is Miss Doreen Mary Annie. Miss Mary Annie?
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. The Athletic Arts, Extracurriculars, and Communications Committee met on August 22nd. We discussed the Oakland Communications Commission. The committee was delighted to hear that administration will be meeting with the Oakland Communications Commission to explore opportunities for our students in the communications field. After Dr. Dionisio meets with them, he will be reporting back with any relevant information. He will similarly provide opportunities to Wyckoff and Franklin Lakes. The athletic handbook is still being reviewed, and the Indian Hills High School 60th anniversary is coming up September 2024, and the committee has suggested as a potential model for celebration reviewing the national awards given to schools throughout the country on the National School Public Relations Association. The board webpage is continuing to review this matter about updating the board webpage, subpage, I'm sorry. Mr. Chang will be invited to our next committee meeting to discuss it, and Dr. Dionisio is exploring ideas for public communications, website design, social media presence type firms such as ThrillShare and Aptigee. For the arts, the school will be performing the following: Peter and the Starcatcher, The Drowsy Chaperone, The Four Seasons, and SpongeBob the Musical. Moving to athletics, the administration will introduce our new athletic director, Mr. Stokes, at the next committee meeting in September. The athletic field lighting is essentially completed. The tennis courts have been paved and striping is being completed. And the committee heard administration's plan with respect to ensuring and indemnifying our neighboring landowner, K-Hobnanian, as our baseball field fence is slightly encroaching on their property. The committee agrees administration should continue to review all options for board consideration, including asking Hovnanian for a donation of the small parcel of land to our district. The committee was delighted to hear the interest in the mountain biking and competitive dance team. And last, the committee is recommending that the superintendent approach the PTSO and the APTS, that their meetings be recorded and televised for expanded communications and transparency to our parent guardian community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask the administration to put the minutes for the Arts, Athletics, and Extracurricular Committee meeting into the board packet. I don't see it right now, but I'm sure with all the commotion of getting ready for the board meeting, it might have been overlooked. The next committee is Education and Personnel. Mr. Bogdansky.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. The Education and Personnel Committee met on August 16th. We met for over 2 hours and all committee members were in attendance. First agenda item was the mentoring plan and professional development plan. The district mentoring plan has been developed in accordance with mentoring program regulations for non-tenured teachers. The agenda item has full support from the committee. This has been approved in the past as well. Second agenda item was curriculum updates, and trust me, this was 90% of our meeting. The process for curriculum revisions start in October of the school year and is worked on throughout the year. The curriculum development team begins making suggestions and revisions in spring, usually March or April, with full discussions and approval in the summer, usually around July. This process conforms with our board policy. Some committee members questioned the process and want more time to review the curriculum, asking what happens if the curriculum is not approved. Dr. Dionisio said that the students would start the school year with no curriculum, and Dr. Moriello stated that it would cost the district well over $300,000 to find alternatives for the special education students. The failure to approve the curriculum would have devastating effects on the students, especially those with IEPs. If the board needs more time to review and approve the curriculum, board policy must be revised to reflect the wishes of the board. Also, the budget must be adjusted to accommodate more time for this process. These conversations need to be had before the school year and budget is approved so administration has a clear vision of the need and can plan accordingly. The next agenda item was the child study team members at Ramapo High School. The Ramapo child study team members had an average caseload of 69 students per case manager during the 2022-2023 school year. The caseload at Ramapo will be approximately 66 students per case manager this coming school year. A review of the special education budget with the business office confirmed that the budget can sustain the addition of an additional child study team member to reduce the out-of-district placements. It is recommended that the LDTC position be posted as soon as possible with potential November 2023 start. The agenda item has the full support of the committee. This additional LDTC will be added to Ramapo to decrease from 69 to 50 individuals per case manager, making this manageable. This conforms with school district standards. And the last agenda item was dual credit. The following agreements will be approved to continue offering dual enrollment opportunities with this institution, Ramapo College, Physics Honors. The committee fully supports this agenda item. Ms. Sullivan asked if we could work towards a uniformed enrollment process for students in their trajectory of studies. Ms. McDermott said this could be possible, but there are many challenges that make this difficult, i.e. there are not set standards for accreditation, and it varies from subject to subject, even with some of the subjects requiring a master's degree from faculty where others do not. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next is the Chair of Facilities and Finance, which is Ms. Mariana Emelo. Ms. Emelo?
Excuse me, Ms. Sullivan, I'm sorry. I also do not see those minutes in the committee report.
Oh, they're there. The Education Committee?
No.
Oh, the Facilities and Finance. Yeah,
Yes.
I was going to say something when she was done. They weren't put in there yet, so.
Okay, thank you.
Administration, I'm sure, will tend to it at their earliest convenience. Go ahead, Ms. Emelo.
Just to address Ms. King's concerns, I submitted the minutes. I shared them with the Finance and Facilities Committee, Ms. Zeno and Dr. Dionisio, and they haven't made it to the board packet, but I'm sure they will. So our committee met on August 17th, and we had a very long list of items that we discussed. So I'll apologize ahead of time because it's going to be a little lengthy, my report. So the first thing we discussed was transportation, specifically our subscription busing. So subscription busing fee for one student is $945. There isn't a one-way option. A parent asked if this was possible. The school district must pay the busing company for round trips. A parent also requested reconsideration of the 2.5-mile distance to and from school benchmark due to lack of crossing guards or sidewalks. The benchmark is per New Jersey law. The committee is concerned for the student safety if they walk to school. The parent who made these requests is an Oakland parent. The committee heard similar concerns from Oakland parents last year in reference to lack of crossing guards or sidewalks, and also the safety of county roads and sidewalks when there is ice or snow on them. The committee talked at length about what we can do to help ensure the safety of our students. And the committee decided to draft a letter and send it to all Flow District Township managers and/or to the attention of the Traffic Division of the Flow Police Departments. In the letter, we would express concern on behalf of parents and ask if they can do a safety assessment of roads, sidewalks, etc., that the town and county are responsible for keeping safe. The next topic was district goals for future construction. We discussed the long-range facilities plan and proposed construction projects for summer of 2024. The long-range facilities plan has not been updated in 4 years. The administration advised us in March that the state software has been broken for several years. As such, administration makes changes, paces itself through board resolutions. The long-range facility plan can still be viewed as a general guideline, but cost estimates are out of date and some items need to be deleted because they have already been completed or are in the process of being completed. We discussed having DeCara Rubino, our architects, update the long-range facilities plan this fall and create a new live document spreadsheet that would be used for internal purposes only by the architects, administration, staff, and the board as the most accurate, up-to-date reference. The superintendent requested in March that the committee propose capital projects for the 2024 school year, as administration needed this info for the final 2024 budget. The administration gave priority to a few items. The non-binding capital projects they proposed to the state and the committee agreed with in March are the following: demolition of the early development room facilities in favor of creating an instructional area for the Thrive Mental Health group counseling, renovations to the family and computer science rooms, and renovations to the athletic locker rooms and trainer rooms in both schools. Specifically, update the athletic trainer room at Indian Hills and relocate and create a new athletic trainer room at Ramapo. In addition to those projects, the committee suggested the following project ideas as well: adding valuable learning resources to the STEM spaces that already exist at our schools, or preferably create dedicated STEM labs at both schools with additional state-of-the-art equipment. Things that would support the instructional needs of our students for advanced technical and vocational programs. Adding air conditioning in both schools in the most needed areas, the areas that hold the most students at one time, the cafeterias and gyms. A dedicated wrestling room at Ramapo. Rebuild existing running track services at both schools. Renovate the second floor team locker room at Indian Hills, and build permanent outdoor pavilions for students who would like to eat lunch outside with additional tables and chairs to prepare for future block scheduling unit lunches. The committee asked DeCara Rubino Architects to attend our next Finance and Facilities meeting so we can discuss creating a new internal long-range facilities plan spreadsheet for our district, which would include updated cost estimates to propose project ideas for 2024 and beyond, and the committee can review and then discuss the info at future meetings and plan accordingly. The committee followed up on a question asked in our last Finance and Facility meeting in reference to grants for capital projects, and was informed by administration that the district did not apply for a ROD grant earlier this year. The next item was construction 2024, specifically a snack stand at Indian Hills. We reviewed DeCara and Rubino's proposal. So the committee discussed DeCara and Rubino's proposal for an expansion and renovation of the current snack stand at Indian Hills and septic design, and to add 2 single-occupant toilets. The committee discussed the idea of purchasing a prefabricated snack concession stand versus constructing a new one ourselves. The committee requested DeCara Rubino Architects attend our next Finance and Facilities meeting to discuss overall vision and needs for the project, their proposal, different options, and the estimated costs. The next topic was the Board of Ed facilities tours of Ramapo and Indian Hills. We have 2 dates. One was last week, Thursday, August 24th, and the next will be this Wednesday, August 30th. There are a total of 3 tours on 2 days. The board requested seeing areas of the schools where the proposed capital projects would be, the projects that I previously referred to a few minutes ago. And these project ideas were also referenced in our March and April Finance and Facilities meetings. I attended the August 24th 12:30 tour, and I would like to personally thank Dr. Denisio, our BA, Ms. Zeno, our principals, Mr. Smith and Dr. Vaca, our building facilities administrators, Mr. Wolf and Mr. Primiani, and our building foremans, Mr. Carrero and Mr. Ken Senheimer. I really appreciate their time and work on giving us these tours and sharing their thoughts, ideas, and visions for Ramapo Indian Hills. The next thing on the agenda was a presentation on the state of security at our schools. Charlie Wolf was scheduled to attend our meeting tonight, our executive session, but we rescheduled that for next month, one of our meetings next month. The committee looks forward to Mr. Wolf's security presentation and the opportunity to ask questions about the current security measures in our schools, and we appreciate his time on this very important topic. We also discussed joint demographic study with flow districts. The superintendent will follow up with us in September with flow superintendents. We'll follow up in September with flow superintendents on recommendations for demographers. And will provide us an update at our next Finance and Facilities meeting. Cell tower bid. The bid opening is September 10th and will be placed on the next Board of Ed agenda for consideration. The committee asked in prior Finance and Facilities meetings about the safety of extending the antenna and about insurance. And administration looked into it and found that everything to be satisfactory. The next item was the ESIP project. The committee reviewed the most recent status of the energy conservation management projects, which include LED lighting and controls, energy management system integration, building envelope weatherization, freezer thermostat controls, water conservation, plug load controls, retro commissioning, solar PPA, roofing upgrades. And then also we were provided with a DCO progress payment application in the amount of $192,568, and the bulk of this application is for plug load controls and lighting upgrades. The committee appreciates administration sharing the DCO contract schedule report, which includes contract execution and milestones, project status, and the total estimated scheduled value payment of the ESCO DCO work on the RIH ESIP project is $981,443, which is a 21.5% markup of the ESIP project. The committee asked why RIH was charged and paid $5,000 to Land Associates on invoice number 71582 for coordination with Solar Company and DCO for future AC. The committee was unaware that we had asked for this service. Administration will look into it and let us know. The committee discussed the idea of adding air conditioning in both schools in the most needed areas, the cafeterias and gyms. The committee requested the administration explore the cost of air conditioning this year in those areas without going through an ESIP. Oprahs, that was the next topic. The committee asked at our last Finance and Facilities meeting if the administration had any recommendations on how to increase efficiency, reduce time spent by the business office on processing the Oprah requests, and reduce expenses. There have been approximately 30 Oprah requests processed in the last month or so. The administration is still working on an internal coordination solution. Oprah requests will continue to be reviewed and vetted by the board attorney prior to release. And that's the conclusion, finally, of my
Okay.
report.
Thank you so much. You're actually up next for the report on negotiations as well.
We continue to work with the RIHEA, finalizing the memorandum of agreement the board approved on June 12th. And we look forward to meeting with the RIHSA and begin working with their negotiations team on renewing their contract as well. And we appreciate the work that we've been doing in the collaboration with both groups. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. The next is the board committee report from policy, and our chair is Ms. Kim Ash. Ms. Ash?
Thank you. The Policy Committee met on August 15th. Regulation 2431.1, Emergency Procedures for Sports and Other Athletic Activity, is on tonight's agenda under P01. The first read was unanimously approved by the board at the July 24th meeting, and the committee is recommending a second final read tonight. Under P02, we have Policy 2431, Extracurricular Activities Competition, and Policy 2431.4, Prevention and Treatment of Sports-Related Concussions and Head Injuries. Both of those were approved unanimously by the board at the July 24th meeting on a first read, and they're both up for recommendation for a second final read tonight. The committee has received guidance from legal counsel on a few other policies and regulations, and will review that guidance in order to make revisions at the next policy committee meeting, which is scheduled for September 14th. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At that point now in the agenda, I need a motion to open up to public comment. Anybody want to make a motion?
Point of order, Ms. Sullivan, I have a question about that.
Yes.
I see that there's been some changes. I didn't realize that anything was changing for public comment until I saw the agenda. Can you please explain why the changes and what has been changed, and an explanation as to how this transpired?
So Ms. Zeno and Dr. Dionisio had recommended that perhaps the agenda be revised to consolidate it. It was getting to be upwards of, I don't know, 40-something pages. Ms. Zeno had brought some suggestions from her previous district. There's no substantive change, as far as I know.
I'm asking specifically about item number 10, public comment.
So these are the comments. These are the general things that we would read out loud anyway. I'll read them out loud as soon as we have a motion to open to public comment. But it's the ordinary stuff, that there's a sign-in sheet outside. We appreciate if you would sign in to the sign-in sheet. I did check board policy. It does say that you have to announce your name, your municipality of residence, and your group affiliation if applicable. So these are just things that the administration had suggested that we change on the agenda.
Okay, so the way that I read this is it states a participant must sign the sign-in sheet and be recognized by the presiding officer. This is directly under public comment. So you're saying if they sign in outside when they walk in, that's enough? This is giving me the implication that they will be signing in here at the podium and they must sign in. So I'm asking how that changed.
So Mrs. King, we are working to revise the agenda. If you want to make a motion with respect to the agenda, please go ahead. But right now I have a motion that's been called with a second to open to public comment.
If
and
I
that
can,
motion takes priority over
well,
anything unless you want to make a motion.
I have a right to ask a question about something that's on the agenda that changed without my knowledge. If you choose not to answer that, that's fine. I'm just
I
asking
answered
a
your
question.
Can we have a roll call on the motion to open for public comment?
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan.
Do I have a motion?
We had a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Bogdansky, and a
I
second.
thought you made the motion, Mr.
I don't-
Begay.
Second.
Mr. Bogdansky,
Yes.
Mr. DeLate,
Yes.
Ms. Emilo,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Koulikortis,
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz,
Yes.
Ms. Mariani,
Yes.
Ms. Anch,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes. All right, so as you heard, we are supporting administration and making recommendations to the changes to the agenda. This is a work in progress. Don't plan on really holding everyone to the fire. If you have not signed in outside, it does not mean that you cannot speak. You absolutely cannot speak. But you should say your name, your municipality of residence, and your group affiliation. As you know, has always been the practice of this board that you'll be limited to 3 minutes in duration for your comment. And as provided by board policy and in Robert's rules, all statements, questions, and inquiries will be directed to the presiding officer, and any questions or inquiries directed by a participant to another board member shall be redirected to the presiding officer, who shall determine if such statement, question, or inquiry shall be addressed by the presiding officer on behalf of the board or by the individual board member. That I did not write, in case anyone wants to know. I did not write that. That was a suggestion from administration, but that is consistent with Robert's rules. And then 4, all board and or superintendent responses to questions or inquiries, as is our practice, shall be held until the end of public participation, and Dr. Dionisio or I, or a combination of both of us, will answer the questions. So with that having said, if you have any public comment, please approach the podium. No one has public comment tonight? That would be a first.
Good evening. Kathy Schwartz, Franklin Lakes. I want to start by expressing my disappointment about Dr. Dionisio's resignation. I've come to almost every board meeting this year, and I've watched how the majority on this board has publicly disrespected him. I've also Oprah requested a lot of emails, and the way that board members disrespect him via email when they think that no one else will see it is even worse. So I'm not surprised he chose to go to another district, one who is really thrilled to have him. For anyone who listened to their meeting, they even seemed to be laughing at Ramapo Indian Hills for letting him go. His departure and the disruption to our district, Ms. Sullivan, lays at your feet for leading the board into this mess. And if you think that self-respecting superintendents will be vying to come here after witnessing this board's disrespect for the position, I think you will be in for a rude awakening when you see the pool of candidates. Dr. Dionisio, thank you for your service to this district. You deserved more, and I wish you would have stayed longer, and good luck. Secondly, I want to express my concern about Ms. Sullivan's letter to the community about mental health. She sent a letter that was signed by her. Almost every sentence began with the word I. The community is not looking for Ms. Sullivan's opinion. Ms. Sullivan's job is to speak for the majority of the board. Her letter basically said, we spend a lot of money on mental health. It said we spend $3.6 million by her estimate, and yet we have no idea of what she lumped into those numbers. I don't know if that includes guidance counselors, special ed. I'm not sure exactly what she's calling special ed spending in her $3.6 million, but it was her number, and she said that. I read that implying that because we spend so much money, she thought it was okay that her board ripped out a program that served 50 students, most with IEPs, a month before school starts, with no replacement plan in place, and as a complete surprise to the superintendent and director of special services. Her letter did not acknowledge or apologize for the vote of 4 board members, Sullivan, Anch, Amolo, and Mariani, to rip away this decade-old program. At a special meeting a week later, the 4 board members reversed their vote. This board should not allow Ms. Sullivan to send out emails that represent her personal opinions. The letters from the board president should reflect the opinion of the majority of the board, which I think is different than what Ms. Sullivan's opinion is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else wish to speak?
Just 2 seconds. Good evening. My name is Victoria, and I am the New Jersey chapter leader of Gays Against Groomers. I come here today not only as a representative of a nonprofit, but as a mother.
Excuse me.
I really don't understand what you're
Please
laughing about.
respect the speaker. I do not wish the speaker to be interrupted. Victoria, I didn't get your last name. I'm so sorry.
It's Surgeon.
Surgeon?
Surgeon, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, as I said, also a mother and a graduate of the Ramapo Indian Hills District. Now, Gays Against Groomers advocates for the well-being of children, and we volunteer hours of our busy schedules to protect kids from indoctrination, medicalization, and sexualization. I am embarrassed to admit that even with my experience dealing with such atrocities, I naively thought that my hometown district wouldn't stoop so low. I was horrified when I was made aware of what's going on in our school district, and I am here to ask you today, what happened to Indian Hills and Ramapo? Now, parents are being kept in the dark about their children's curriculum. We need full transparency of lesson plans so parents can decide if they wish to opt their child out. Now, I struggle to believe that any parent would condone the lesson plan of one of our former English teachers. Not only did he conduct that illegal survey that asked about each child's sexual preference and identity, he also had 2 male students read the following out loud in class. I'm really not comfortable with my kid here. Okay. I had a dream last night. We were kissing really hard, rubbing up against each other, and suddenly there was an explosion. Like a dam broke and everything rushed out and flowed into the sea. It was the greatest feeling I ever had in my life, and when I woke up, I was, wet? It was a wet dream. You had a wet dream. I have them all the time. Didn't you ever do it by yourself? Didn't you ever diddle with yourself? No, never. Baloney, I've heard you. You diddle 3-4 times a week. Now, this was an English class. This teacher was put on paid leave for 3 months and was reinstated 2 months later. Ms. King, you were on the board at that time and you voted to reinstate him. Now, I want to know how you sleep at night. How many chances are you going to give someone with our kids? Now, while our students spend time in their classroom discussing diddling, they're grappling with the grim aftermath of lacking education. Let's take a look at the numbers. In 2022, an astonishing 60.6% of New Jersey students failed the ELA section of the NJ GPA field test. 50% were not graduation ready for mathematics. Now, rather than addressing these abysmal test scores head on, what was the state's solution? To lower the minimum passing score. Now, it's crucial now, more than ever, that we focus on core subjects and not the school district's SEL ratings. We need to make some serious changes. While we sit and argue over how many rainbows are in our classrooms
Sorry,
and how
Ms. Surgeon, your time is
LGBTQ
up.
inclusive. All right, our kids
I'm
are
so
failing.
sorry. Thank you so much.
Ms. Sullivan, excuse me, can I just, one quick thing. The woman with the white shirt on, you have like a flashlight. It's kind of shining right in our eyes. If you could turn that off, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
My name's Karen Nash from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. I have a question. First of all, the laughter, aren't these the people that are supposed to let everyone have a voice? And they're laughing at this poor person that just came up here to speak. She had a question too, whether they think it's legit or not. Aren't they the ones teaching our kids that everything goes? That we should have a voice, that we're allowed to be who we should be and be proud of it? She was very proud of whatever she was saying, but for some reason, they thought it was hysterical. I don't see that they're the proper people to be teaching our kids if they can't even allow an adult to speak in an adult forum. It's kind of weird. Second of all, the thing I have the question about the most is, I'm always so nervous when I'm up here and I hate myself for it, but okay. So the thing I have a question about the most is, when these children have these issues in school, and they go to an authoritative person in the school, if it's one of them, they're not qualified, to me. Are they allowed to hold the secret that our children come to them with? I've raised 2 kids, they're very successful. I can go on and on about that. They both went here. We all know that too, because I've said it a million times. I would want to know if my kid was struggling. I think I have a right to know. I think that it's your place to tell me. And my question is, are you telling the parents of the children that are struggling that their child needs help? Or are you taking it upon yourself? Are the teachers taking it upon themselves to try to instruct the children without parents knowing? That is a huge thing for me, and I haven't heard that addressed yet, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
May Bogdansky from Wyckoff. This is a quick comment. I do agree with what this lady was mentioning about respecting each other, but in all fairness to the teachers on this side, not all the teachers are sitting on this side. I see a lot of people that are not teachers. So in all fairness to them, I don't know if they were laughing, but I don't know if that's fair, but.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Hi, Vicki Holst, Franklin Lakes. I was not one of the laughers. I was sitting on the left side, and I'm sure that has a lot of implications for some people. But I have been booed many times. After I've left the microphone, I've been interrupted in the past, standing here where people are like literally trying to get in my space and distract me. I've been followed and heckled after meetings out in the parking lot by myself, walking in the dark, where the only way I could protect myself was to start taking videotapes of the people, which then they said, oh, she's taking a video. And I unfortunately had to drive by their cars of these adults And then they took a video of me in my car where they now know what I drive, know my driver's license, simply because I was trying to protect myself being heckled. So my point is there are two sides to every situation. And, you know, I didn't quite hear what organization that lady was from, Gays for Groomers. I looked it up because I didn't understand, and so now I understand more. But that's really the point, is that all of us are supposed to be accepting each other and understanding each other, trying to understand each other. It doesn't mean we have to align ourselves completely with each other. It doesn't mean we have to agree, but we need to try to understand and accept. And I think our administration and our teachers that are still here have done a wonderful job putting the curriculum together. All those hours that you spent, I applaud you. I know you're giving up time in your summers away from your family to do this, and it really means a lot for our kids. But our kids need curriculum, and they need mental health support, because the reality is that all of our children are coming from families that believe in one extreme or the other, and then there are a few families that believe in trying to bring everybody together in the middle, and it's really hard. And Dr. Dionisio, you've been such a gift to our district in the short time that you've been here. I was so excited to see where you took our district, and now unfortunately we'll have to see how your new district succeeds with you. But I do thank you for your time and your openness and willingness, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Ardith Cardenas, Franklin Lakes. These are my own opinions as a private citizen and taxpayer, and not on behalf of the Franklin Lakes Borough Council. First off, I'd like to express my disappointment at the fiasco last Wednesday. I'd like to know where 5 people were, in particular 2 who didn't even let the board president know they weren't going to be here. Mr. Bogdansky, where were you? When you have such a critical decision to make regarding the hiring of a new superintendent, why would you disregard this meeting and your responsibility? This is one of, if not the most important jobs of a board's purview, and some of you decided that time is not of the essence. You just don't not show up for a meeting because you don't like someone or their stance on an issue. And you're all putting your political futures, because that's what it really is, ahead of students' education. Secondly, regarding the links, finding out tonight, and this is the first time we heard about the directions for the links in the curriculum, getting those directions on how to access the links the night the curriculum is being voted on isn't really helpful. It would have been nice to know this ahead of time. And having links that don't work, I understand the directions, some of them don't work and we don't have access, but having them there just looks sketchy and it creates doubt. If you want parents to trust you, you have to prove yourselves trustworthy, and all this does is put more doubts in parents' minds. And finally, I would like everyone to remember, and for those who are not aware, Mrs. King's Facebook post from November 2nd, 2021, her stance on education, quote, "Not sure where this parents should control what is taught in schools because they are our kids is originating. But parents do have the option to choose to send their kids to a hand-selected private school at their own expense, if this is what they desire." As though paying your taxes isn't already an expense. The purpose of a public education in a public school is not to the parent, but the entire community, the public. Just to be clear, parental rights are God-given rights, and you don't have the right to hide things from parents or make them so difficult to access. Society does not raise our kids. Parents do.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Liz Carletta. I'm from Oakland. I have just a few comments, no questions really. Dr. Dionisio, I wish you the best of luck in your new district. I was very excited when you came here to Oakland. I knew some people at your prior district and was looking forward to what you could do for us here, and I'm very sorry that you were forced out or that you chose to leave, but I understand it. Thank you and good luck to you. I have 2 young kids at home. My oldest is 4, so it'll be a while before they get to the high schools here, whichever one they end up going to. I moved to Oakland partly because of its great reputation for the schools and community. I do find that Oakland has a wonderful community. I've found wonderful, wonderful people and friends there, and neighbors too. I've been very disheartened over the past couple years of the nonsense that's going on, specifically regarding education. I am also an educator myself, former high school teacher, special needs, as well as science, and I will be teaching again in the future. And I've been working with teachers over the past 5 years. And I just want to say, even though I'm very disillusioned right now with what's going on with our education system because of input from people who really don't have the training to make these suggestions, I do want to say that I was really, really refreshed. And so thank you to all of you sitting here. Your curriculum looks amazing. Your dedication is apparent. I really appreciate it and look forward to the day that my kids are in school with you and what you leave behind, because it'll be a while, and I hope that some of you get to retire before then, but hopefully not. So thank you to all of your hard work. I implore the board to please approve the curriculum that they have worked so hard for and that they have spent their lives and educations dedicated to developing. And I also hope you will really take seriously the search for our next superintendent and treat that person a lot better.
Hi, my name is Nicole Check of Oakland. I actually graduated in Indian Hills 2013, and I just wanted to talk about how much I appreciated the diversity that was already within the curriculum, even back then, when, again, gay marriage was not legalized back then. And the diversity of the education and the things that I was exposed to, whether I or my family personally agreed with them or not, were incredibly important as I went on to places like William Patterson University and then Rutgers to get 2 BAs. The ability to work with and understand people who were different from me in myriad of ways was critical to my both being able to succeed at Rutgers as a school, as well as beyond that and get I interned with one of the assemblywomen for our district. And I had to meet and talk to a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions than me. And the critical thinking within the curriculum was very core to my ability to understand their perspectives, as well as respond to them in a way that was working towards a solution to the problem. So I really just wanted to thank the supervisors and thank everyone who's helping these kids grow and understand the world around them and the people around them that are different from them. I think that's so incredibly critical, and is to take that out of the curriculum, I believe would be doing a great disservice to future students as they try to enter the world and learn and work with others. So thank you again for all of the constant curriculum updates, not just things about LGBTQ, but things like climate change, adding technology in math courses, stuff that's bringing us forward, helping kids to be ready. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tim Shanley from Wyckoff. I'm here on behalf of my 2 sons and not the Wyckoff Township Committee as an elected official. The reason I'm here is I want to thank Dr. Dionisio for what you've done for the district. I now have 2 boys that are at Ramapo. I have a freshman and I have a sophomore. And I was hoping that you would have been here all the way through as they go through Ramapo, but I can kind of understand why you're not. When a board does not adopt your recommendations, and I'm sure there's quite a few. I don't know what the number is, but I have a feeling that number is pretty high. And I'd like to know what the number is, because we got to make sure that the next administrator doesn't face the same thing either. And I want to thank all the educators here who put together a great curriculum that needs to be adopted. And having 2 boys that are going to be starting in September, I encourage this board to approve the curriculum, because they put in so much time and effort to get it done, and I don't want my 2 boys starting the year without a curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Margaret Bennett, Franklin Lakes. Great presentation. To some of my favorite people over there. Thorough, and Ms. McDermott, you did a really good job of defining what was a really thorough and long process. So I guess we'll find out shortly if there's some board members who think they know better than you. Dr. Dionisio, it wasn't a total surprise. We've been warning about this. You were driven out by board members who want to run our schools and think that just because they are sitting at that table, it gives them the authority to do so, but it does not. This all began on January 5th, when 5 board members all but slapped you and our community in the face with their overt actions that defied their cries and promises of transparency. They rode in on a petty horse, fueled by one person's vindictive revenge on certain individuals, and a baseless political narrative that seeks to make our schools some people's insurrection. On that petty horse sat 5 power-hungry, pathetically ignorant board members. Although it appears that that block may have lost some hold, it is not enough to save the district's reputation, and it certainly, I fear, will not stop the administrative bleed. Your leaving is a tremendous loss and should not be underestimated. So those that want to continue to churn up nonstop negative narratives about our schools are harming students. They do it when they spread false inflammatory narratives in their effort to detract from what has occurred since January 5th, in their effort to turn our schools into their political playground, which is paved with hate. This harms the schools, it harms the students, and Dr. Dionisio, Lucky Fairlawn, you've done a really good job, and I hope that in time some of your initiatives get picked up by whoever the future person is. I'd like to just add that the Facilities Committee cannot write a letter to a local government on behalf of a parent, which is what we heard tonight in the committee update. It's not allowed. And I believe it's also not allowed for the board to do that on behalf of even itself. A Board of Ed cannot ask a local government to do some kind of safety field study. So keep yourselves in check. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Elliot Bannon, Wyckoff. In regard to Dr. Dionisio seeking another superintendent position elsewhere, Vivian King gave the following quote: "This is the direct result of the action of the board members who have made up the majority since January." That's unequivocal, no gray area. She's accusing 5 members of her board of being so horrible to work with, they forced our superintendent to leave. I have one question for Ms. King. Where's your proof? Your evidence? I see conjecture, opinion. I read his resignation letter. Nope. In fact, for all we know, Dr. Dionisio had already interviewed for the Ridgewood superintendent job way back in December or February. And yet you still felt it was okay to accuse your fellow townsmen of something vile without evidence. These people who you besmirched, whose character you attacked, they live with us. Some have children in the system who may have read your unfounded accusations about their parents. And this isn't even the first time Ms. King has done this. At a board meeting on April 24th, around the 53rd minute mark, once again in public, she stated, "You, Ms. Sullivan, are on the phone with council 4 or 5 times a day, not just in regards to Oprah's, discussing stuff that I'm not too sure you should really be asserting yourself in, and I have concerns." You see, she's not too sure because she wasn't privy to the conversations. And in spite of that, she still implied Ms. Sullivan may be inserting herself into topics that would cross a Board of Ed ethical line. And because she's making the claim in public, it appears she wants us to have concerns too. In spite of that, once again, she presented no evidence. In my opinion, the only ethical line that was crossed that night was when Ms. King made that untoward suggestion against a fellow board member. As for curriculum, this is how Ms. King admonished her fellow board members at the public meeting on August 1st. We have curriculum vote coming up in a few weeks, and I suggest that you leave the details to the experts. Ms. King is suggesting her fellow board members do very little with the curriculum other than rubber stamp it. Leave it to the experts. As if parents, of which some, if not all of these board members are, don't have a right to be concerned about what their child is learning? I don't know how else to read your statement. People say this board's been dysfunctional. There are 9 board members, all of them with thoughts and opinions on board matters they find strongly about. Every one of them. But Ms. King has the desire to give her opinion in a speech at the end of every meeting. It's dysfunctional. I believe this board would be better off if she loses her election and she's not sitting on it next year.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Philomena LaForgia, Oakland.
We are out of time.
I'm sorry. Oh, did I run out of time?
No, we can have one more speaker. It's okay.
Okay. Philomena LaForgia, Oakland, New Jersey. Oakland. I have curriculum questions. E1 and E2, I would like to understand if the courses are accessible in one school or both. Regarding special education or special services, all changes presented were for classes and self-contained classes only available at Indian Hills, and for the 18 to 21 program, Horizon program, only available at Ramapo. Is that correct? I am not sure. I understand if there were any changes in curriculum that supported this community outside of those 2 specific programs. I have been asking for, maybe this is my 5th year now, for the district to consider adding American Sign Language for this specific community who struggles with language often, to be added as a language requirement to no avail. I guess I will try next year as well. I also wanted to spend some time to inform the public that although as a district we promote and offer school choice, I want to make clear that that many students from our special needs community, regardless of what town they come from in the Flow community, they are not given choice, and they are told to go to a self-contained program only available at Indian Hills. So although this district promotes the diversity and inclusion stance, this community, or a majority of this community, is segregated to Indian Hills, which in my opinion adds to the increased disparaging numbers between the schools. Finally, I'm asking, well, not finally, but I'm asking again where the authors and stories that represent the disability communities are. I do not see them represented in the same extent of the other diversity communities. Where are the Temple Grandin? Where's the Helen Kellers, Stephen Hawken, Allison Wong, Keen Brown? Where are those people? Finally, the integrated algebra and geometry. This is a class, as I understand, does not exist in the regular general ed because it does not have any credits that goes towards graduation. So I want to make sure everybody knows that when your child is enrolled in these classes, this course is specifically does not comply with any credits towards their graduation. It's a lost year. And I want to ask, why aren't these kids prepared before they come into 9th grade when they're losing a whole year to this class? Where's the summer program that enforces and fortifies these classes so they don't have to spend a year with no credits? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll try to answer some questions, and then I'll ask for a motion to close public comment. I can't answer the questions about the curriculum. That the administration has to answer those. There were not a lot of questions tonight, just a lot of comments. Yes, I do believe that everyone has the right to speak and that people really should respect all speakers. I'm not even a fan of the applause, to be honest, because it can be used in a way that perhaps you don't intend. So I can't stop the applause, but I can ask that you please do not heckle speakers. Please do not follow people to their cars. Please do not take videos of people that would scare or intimidate them from speaking in public. It's a cherished right that we have in the United States to speak at public governmental meetings. So please try to respect all speakers from all viewpoints. The only thing I think I want to comment about is the letter that I had sent to the community. I did review that letter in much detail with board counsel, and they authorized me to send that to the community without going too much into attorney-client detail, client confidentiality there. But other than that, I really I can't answer any of the questions because they were mostly administrative unless Dr. Dionisio wants to answer any of the curriculum questions.
No, I think all of the questions were more or less answered tonight. Any specific questions? Actually, the one regarding E1 and E2, I could reference that one. E2 is noted in the board agenda resolutions. E2 is inclusive of all of the revised, modified, or new curriculum that is up for approval. That is quite typical in what we do every single year. E1, move to approve in accordance with Board Policy 2200. The board shall annually approve a list of all programs and courses that comprise the district's curriculum for courses outlined in the program of studies. 2023-24, previously board approved in December of 2022, inclusive of courses that have previously received board approval in prior years and require no revisions and no modifications made in this current school year. So essentially what that means is our board policy, and this is a new resolution that I've included for board approval this year, which in prior years has not been included. So that way we are carrying out Board Policy 2200 requires the annual approval of all curriculum. So if I were to list all of the courses for E1, it would be anywhere between 10 to 11 pages of courses that are currently in our program of studies. There are no revisions to those courses, but we are required annually to reapprove the curriculum that was approved in prior years. Now, to be clear, the New Jersey State statute does not require that. Our board policy requires it. There's no obligation beyond our board policy, but to make sure that we're in accordance with policy, that was included this year. That's all I have.
Okay, I need a motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bogdansky.
Second.
Ms. Anch, thank you.
Mr. Bogdansky?
Yes.
Mr. DeLate?
Yes.
Ms. Emilo?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Koulikortis?
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz?
Yes.
Ms. Mariani?
Yes.
Ms. Anch?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes. Okay, the motion passes. Public comment is closed. We have another public comment at the end of the meeting. We now move to open board discussion. Any board member have further questions about any items on the agenda or
Ms.
comments?
Sullivan, may I be recognized?
Yes, Ms. Anch.
First, I'd like to thank Mrs. McDermott and our wonderful teaching staff for your presentation and all your hard work. The board will be voting tonight on the curriculum, and so before the vote, I'd like to speak a little bit about the concerns surrounding the revisions. I'd say that all of us are in agreement that we do want to see everyone represented. I personally don't know anyone who wants to exclude anyone, and no one is saying that diversity and inclusion is a bad thing. But as the saying goes, everything in moderation. Our students deserve a curriculum that is fair and balanced, and therein lies the issue we are faced with here tonight. Per our former curriculum director, our district already met the mandate in 2021. Multiple parents called and spoke with the Bergen County superintendent, who indicated that the mandate could be met by putting just one example in one class. Yet more and more is added into our curriculum each year. For example, in pre-calculus CPE, there are multiple word problems referencing same-sex relationships and/or gender ideology, yet only one example referencing people with disabilities. In multilingual CP chemistry, 3 out of 4 units give examples of female scientists who are part of the LGBT community, yet not one example from the disabled community. In the UP Introduction to Healthcare, again, we see a doctor who is part of the LGBT community, not the disabled community. We also see the diversity and inclusion law referenced in all 6 units of this one course. When the district repeatedly goes above and beyond what is required and what is acceptable to a majority of the community, it begins to look an awful lot like political ideology. When I campaigned the past 2 years, I knocked on hundreds of doors and I heard a common theme, that residents and parents want their children to be taught how to think and not what to think. And so I was elected by a majority of Franklin Lakes voters because they put their trust in me to fight for a fair and balanced curriculum, and that is what I intend to do. Now that the state standards have been met under Chapter 32 concerning diversity and inclusion instruction in school districts, and supplementing Chapter 35 of Title 18A of the New Jersey statutes, it's time to unite the board and challenge this administration on how to raise test scores so that all of our students are graduation ready. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have questions, comments?
Ms. Sullivan?
Dr. Lorenz, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to table P1B, the acting superintendent. I don't think the board's in any position to be overseeing an acting superintendent at this time.
P1B. Move to approve the internal posting of the position of acting superintendent of schools within the district for a period of 3 months with the possibility of extension for another 3 months and subject to the approval of the acting county superintendent of schools.
Second.
So we're going to have board discussion on this, I presume.
Technically, there's not to be board discussion on tabling an item.
That is true. However, it is an agenda item that we didn't even get the chance to talk about yet.
Yes, and he made a motion to table it.
Ms. Zeno? We were having board discussion on agenda items and a motion to table was made in the middle of that discussion. We haven't even had a chance to talk about it.
But Ms. King is correct when that's you saying, when she's saying that if someone makes a motion to table, then you have to take a vote on it.
Yes, I just wanted to get confirmation. So unfortunately, we cannot discuss this agenda item. So we have to take a vote, unfortunately. No discussion. Don't comment.
Mr. Bogdansky?
Yes.
Mr. DeLate?
Yes.
Ms. Emilo?
No.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Colacortis?
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz?
Yes.
Ms. Mariani?
No.
Ms. Sanch?
No.
Ms. Sullivan?
No. So the motion passes. The board is not able to approve any agenda item tonight as to the internal posting of the position of acting superintendent of schools within the district for a period of 3 months, with the possibility of extension for another 3 months and subject to the approval of the acting county superintendent of schools. So we're not able to pass that agenda item tonight. It's been tabled.
Ms.
Okay,
Sullivan?
back to board discussion. You have another motion to make?
I do. I'd like to make a motion to table P1D.
Oh, my goodness.
Second.
Wow. So this motion was another alternative to try to search for a permanent superintendent. It says as follows: move to authorize the solicitation of proposals from professional service firms, including blank, which we were going to discuss and fill in, perhaps, to perform a superintendent search for the board with the expectation that the board will approve a search firm to conduct a superintendent search at any specially next called meeting or the next regularly scheduled meeting on September 11th. So thus, the board would not be able to solicit any proposals from any search firms to help with the position of even an interim superintendent or a permanent superintendent. So the board would not be permitted to get assistance if this motion passes. And since it's a tabling motion, once again, there is no discussion permitted by the board. We are not permitted to explain, ask questions. A tabling motion gets no comment, no discussion. I will say, though, I did send an email to several board members asking.
Point of order.
Any motions
Point of
would
order,
be
Ms.
good,
Sullivan.
but did not receive a
Point of
response.
order, Ms.
So
Sullivan.
let's
There's a
take
motion and a second. We need to take a vote.
So let's take a vote on this, Ms. Demetrio.
Mr. Bogdansky?
Yes.
Mr. DeLate?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Colacortis?
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz?
Yes.
Ms. Emilo?
No.
Ms. Mariani?
No.
Ms. Sanch?
No.
Ms. Sullivan?
No. Okay, so let's move on before more motions can be made. Maybe we can ask some questions and make some comments. I have some comments about item number P1A3, which is move to approve the external advertising of the interim superintendent of schools for a period of time to be determined by the Board of Education and subject to the approval of the acting county superintendents of schools. So I had placed this motion on the agenda after speaking to the county superintendent of schools in Bergen County, Louis DeLisio. I also spoke to board council extensively to get some ideas and suggestions. I can't talk about the tabling of the other motions, but I can say that those motions, those agenda items were put on the agenda specifically at the suggestion of the acting county of superintendent schools. All 4 of them were. So now the board is faced with just accepting the resignation of Dr. Dionisio and to simply advertise for an interim. We are now proscribed from doing anything else as a board. We can't hire a firm. We cannot post for an internal candidate to apply for the position. A tabling motion, my recollection, requires a supermajority to untable it, unfortunately. So I just want to make sure the board understands the significance of their actions. Time is of the essence to get a new superintendent in place. And I did discuss with the county superintendent that the board, the school district has had interims before, and as I said in my opening statement, there's a lot of work to be done next year, so I'm deeply disappointed that some of the board's options, all the options for our students to get stability have been cut off. So I am hoping that at least we can try to advertise for the interim, and no one will strike that agenda item as well. And very disappointed that we're limited to just that. And Mr. Bogdansky, I'm equally concerned that I specifically had reached out to you to see if there were any motions and was not so informed. So really apologize to the rest of the
Ms. Sullivan, may I be recognized?
I'm sorry?
May I be recognized?
Of course, yes. Mm-hmm.
I was not aware of any walk-in motions.
Oh, I thought by your vote, your
Sorry about that.
hearty vote in favor.
I find it pretty insensitive for you to bring that up. Thank you.
Anything else? Please, audience, please don't say anything. Anyone else want to make comments? Ms. Emilo? Ms. Ange?
I would like to.
People that voted no to the table? Just generally on whatever's left.
I'm just a little confused why the one extremely important job of the board to hire a superintendent is being kind of handcuffed. Just doesn't make sense to me. I'm baffled. I know we can't talk about it, but I just want to say that I don't understand.
Well, you can talk about the remaining item, the interim.
Well, I personally spoke with the Bergen County superintendent today, and he did suggest that we try to move forward on all 3 tracks, which would be acting, interim, and permanent. So I would just think that he would know best. He is the superintendent of the county, and why we're not following his advice just doesn't make sense.
Anyone else?
May I be recognized?
Ms. Ange?
I too spoke to Lou DeLisio, the Bergen County Superintendent, last week, and he felt that while we might not find a superintendent very quickly, we should have all of our options open, that we should hire a search firm, we should post internally for an acting superintendent, and post externally for an interim superintendent, so that we cover all our bases. And the fact that we cannot now do that is beyond me. I don't understand how this is United for Students. I don't understand how anyone on this board can think it's not important to move forward immediately to find a replacement superintendent.
Ms. Sullivan, I'd be recognized.
Yes, Mr. DeLee?
First, I just want to say thank you to Ms. McDermott and all the supervisors for all of their hard work on what was an outstanding presentation tonight, so thank you for that. Dr. Deniso, congratulations on your new position. In our first meeting last December, your passion for your job, educating our students and preparing them for life after high school, was abundantly clear. I left that meeting excited to work with you this year, and I have very much enjoyed working with you. It's unfortunate, but understandable, that the actions of this board caused you to consider other opportunities. I hope that this board has finally learned from its mistakes, and I hope that we can conduct a thorough, deliberate search for a new superintendent that results in us finding a permanent superintendent with the same passion that you exhibit. Thank you for all that you have done here for our students. Our district's loss is most certainly Fairlawn's gain. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Sullivan, may I be recognized?
Yes, Ms. Colacortis.
First, I'd like to say I'm a little surprised as to why you just reacted to Mr. Bogdansky's vote. All year he's been voting with you, and now that it's a different tune, you seem to be upset. Second, I'd like to just say, Dr. Dionisio, you have been an exemplary superintendent who had so much to offer our district. I'm sorry you had to be the victim of board members who are trying to run our schools. I'm sorry you have faced many contentious meetings, all beginning on January 5th. I'm sorry for our school district, our taxpayers, our staff, but most of all, our students. You have always gone out of your way to attend meetings for student council, government, theater shows, performances, awards, and those are just a few. The students know you. They have made relationships with you. Your presence in this district, though brief, has left its mark. Typically, students and parents don't know their superintendent. However, this is not the case for the Flow District. Most parents and students know who you are and unquestionably will miss your presence here. I am grateful to you for all the work you have managed to achieve in such a short time. The strategic plan, being just one example, will unroll without you being here. But I hope you know your initiatives that you have come out of this plan started under your leadership, and I, for one, will be looking to hire a superintendent for someone who will see it through. Even with all you've done, I know there was so much more to come. Fairlawn is very lucky to have you, and our loss is surely their gain. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Sullivan?
Who is this? Oh, Ms. King, yes. Mhm.
Thank you. So I echo what Ms. Kolkoris just said, in so much that since January, you've all been saying, it's my vote, it's my vote. I have a right to vote the way I want. So I don't think we should be reprimanding each other how we vote. It doesn't show very good camaraderie. We also are showing that we are moving forward. We are going ahead and hopefully soon approving going out to bid or going out and advertising for an interim superintendent. And we could always reintroduce a new resolution closer to the end of the year to go out to RFP or RFQ for search firms. I don't agree with the opinions that we are not moving forward. We are moving forward, and we are doing the business of the board. And with that, I'd just like to say quickly, it's been a very long month for all of us. I am saddened by the resignation of our superintendent, Dr. Dionisio, but I understand why it happened. I am disheartened that our students and community will not be able to see his strategic plan come to life over the next 5 years. I feel that all the changes we had for the future have now all been stopped in their tracks, and that is upsetting, not just to me, but to the entire Flow District. Unfortunately, what's done is done, and we cannot turn back time. But one thing we know for certain is that we can always move forward. It is time for the board to get down to business and do what is in the best interest of the students, teachers, administration, and the district as a whole. Thank you, Dr. Dionisio, for all of the time and energy you have put into trying to build up our district. You have been present with our students and faculty. You hit the ground running on day one, and I, for one, feel that this is a big loss for us. I wish you the best of luck in your new district. I ask for everyone to please take stock in what has happened over the last few years, as I know I have done that. It is my hope that the next superintendent has the same passion and drive that Dr. Dionisio had, so that we can bring Ramapo Indian Hills back to the exemplary status it once had. I want to look in the paper and read about RIH's achievements, both academically and athletically. I want to hear about the students' excitement to learn new things, their experiences with new technology, as well as hear that our staff and administration are fulfilled in seeing our students' in meeting our students' needs and attaining their academic achievements. Let's work together to bring back Poe pride and make Indian Hills brave again. Thank you.
Ms. Sullivan, may I be recognized?
Yes, Mr.
Thank you.
Bogdansky.
Thank you. First, I want to convey to the community, in making my decision to vote this evening, I interviewed 5 superintendents, 5. 3 retired, 2 active. All 5 gave the exact same solution. Right now, search for an interim superintendent. I'm going to put my faith in those professionals to give me great guidance, and that's why I voted the way I did tonight. Moving forward, I want to extend a huge thank you to Dr. Dionisio for his hard work, focus, passion for our students and our community. It should not go unnoticed. I personally appreciate all you have done for our district in the short period of time you have been here. You are the epitome of one of my favorite quotes from Sheryl Sandberg. Leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. You are a true, true leader. Thank you. To Ms. McDermott, I want to thank you for all your hard work on curriculum and focus on making our students smarter, You have one of the toughest jobs in our district. I ask for your patience. I appreciate your understanding everything I've asked of you the last few months, including full transparency on curriculum. You always rise to the occasion, and at no point have I ever felt deceived. I look forward to working with you well into the future. Lastly, Dr. Moriello, thank you for your focus and attention to the needs of our special education students. I know we have a long way to go to correct the inadequacies you inherited, but I am confident we will reach success sooner rather than later. I will continue to champion your wants and hope for great results. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just had some questions I want to lay down on the record for the business administrator. So I quickly looked at Robert's Rules of Order. Fortunately, I'm trying to do this on my feet because people don't tell me in advance if they're going to make motions to table. But according to my review, it says that a motion to table can only be made when there's no other business at hand. We were conducting business. We were discussing the agenda items. I'm not asking for a ruling. I'm just laying the record because my concern is that if that motion is not re-picked up at the next board meeting, it is dead, I believe. I'm not sure we can ever bring it back. So I'm just laying the record for that. I'm not
What is that
asking for
rule
any
number,
ruling.
Ms. Sullivan? Can you cite that?
I have the floor. I have the floor.
Right.
I didn't interrupt
I'm asking
you.
for that
I didn't
rule number.
interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you at all.
But you
when
cited a
spoke.
rule number.
I did not interrupt you at all.
Okay. I'll ask when you're
spoke.
done.
I didn't interrupt you. I do want to urge the board to give me some guidance with respect to the interim superintendent, because since we don't have the other two options anymore, I'd like to know what those board members think if we run out of time, since Dr. Dionisio is leaving on the 12th of November, and what would be the plan if we are not running on all of these other tracks. I'd like to hear from board members before we vote on P1AC, what is their plan? And I'd also like to know, was your vote or was your motion made to limit the agenda in order to allow the election to occur, which we should not be appointing people around elections? And I want to point the public to policy number 1220, which I briefly mentioned earlier, that talks about how the current board can make an appointment for a permanent superintendent. I want to read that out loud for the public as well, because I'd like to know what the board's plan is now in light of just doing the interim search. That policy provides, in the event there is a superintendent vacancy at the expiration of the existing contract, only the board seated at the time of the expiration of the current superintendent's contract may appoint and approve an employment contract for the next superintendent. So by way of example, if the contract was going to naturally expire in February 2024, then this board could not appoint a new superintendent. However, the following paragraph says, in the event there is a superintendent vacancy prior to the expiration of the existing contract, the board seated at the time the position becomes vacant may appoint and approve an employment contract for the next superintendent. So that is the paragraph that I believe is the spirit and intent of the policy that we're supposed to follow here, which says that since we have a vacancy prior to the natural expiration of the contract, which is occurring unnaturally, the superintendent is resigning, that this board, according to this policy, has the ability to hire a permanent superintendent. And I'd like to know what this board's plan is now. If you don't find an interim superintendent, what is your plan to comply with this policy and to find a permanent superintendent? Anyone who voted yes, does anybody care to explain what your plan is?
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a few questions. So my first question is, you cited Robert's rules and with tabling a motion. What was the citation? What's the rule number?
I don't have the rule number at the top of my fingertips because, like I said, I was surprised. But I can provide that to you before the end of the meeting.
Okay. And then just to go over District Policy 1220, Employment of Chief School Administrator. Yeah, it says, in the event there is a superintendent vacancy at the expiration of the existing contract, only the board seated at the time of the expiration of the current superintendent's contract may not must, may, appoint and approve an employment contract for the next superintendent. Next paragraph. In the event there is a superintendent vacancy prior to the expiration of the existing contract, the board seated at the time the position becomes vacant may, not must, may, appoint and approve an employment contract for the next superintendent. Historically, this is how it's done. You appoint an interim, which we are all set to, I believe, approve, which is C, move to approve the external advertising of an interim superintendent, get an interim superintendent in, show some semblance of calm, working together, trying to give our teachers and our supervisors a way to teach, start school, show that we can do the board business, and then go out to RFQ and advertise for a permanent superintendent. This was not discussed, A, B, C, and D, with the full board. We are a board of 9. I didn't know about any of this until I saw the agenda. I can't speak for anyone else. But I feel that we need to do this process deliberately, with intention, and with a lot of thought behind it. It's not a process that should be rushed.
So historically, this district has suffered under interims because we need stability and we needed a permanent superintendent. When the previous permanent superintendent retired and announced her retirement notice in 2019, we had a lot of time. We had a lot of time to look for an interim superintendent. The new superintendent, I don't think, started until, I want to say maybe July of 2020. And so I don't know where Mrs. King makes her statement that historically this is how it's done. In fact, historically this is how it shouldn't be done, because we've already labored under a period of instability and not having a permanent superintendent. Not discussed or not on the agenda, I take issue with that as well. I did call a meeting last week to try to put some of these items on the agenda. Everybody was noticed. Everybody got a copy of the agenda. I even sent internal emails that explain my conversations with the county superintendent and how I implored the board to move on all 3 tracks in order to give us the necessary plan to present to the county superintendent how we were working on things. All of that stuff was sent out. No one did not have notice of this. There were questions that even were raised. I answered all the questions I possibly could. I explained that I spoke to the county superintendent and he thought that we should be moving on all 3 tracks. So again, I'm asking this board, what is your plan to demonstrate to the county superintendent that you may not be able to find an interim superintendent by November 12th? What happens when he asks, why aren't you using a search firm? Why aren't you looking internally? I'd like to know the answer. What is your answer?
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
So, with all due respect, this is all your opinion, okay? You're not the only one who speaks to previous superintendents or who speaks to the county superintendent or who speaks to other people in school districts throughout Bergen County. So we do have a plan. The plan is to hire an interim superintendent, okay? We'll get an interim superintendent in place. Hopefully there will be a very nice handoff between the interim superintendent and Dr. Dionisio. We will get back to doing the business of the board. We do not need to sit here today on August 28th and come up with a plan right this second of how we're going to hire a permanent superintendent. And again, that's my opinion. Based on the fact that these 2 items were tabled, I guess it's the majority's opinion. We're going to move deliberately and thoughtfully and respectfully, and we're going to put in place the best person who will do the job to get this district back to where it once was.
Ms. Sullivan, may I be recognized?
Yes, Ms. Colacortis?
I'd like the record to reflect that you put this meeting on the calendar last week without asking for the board availability, knowing that Dr. Dionisio was not able to be present either. So I'd like the record to reflect that.
So I did not know for certain if he was going to be present. He actually did come into the office a few days last week, and we actually weren't certain that he wasn't going to be there. But notwithstanding that, he actually recommended on the agenda all 4 of these items that you guys just voted against. I just want to make sure the record reflects that as well. And yes, every board member has their right to an opinion. Just like I have the right to say what I say, you have the right to say what you say. Doesn't mean my opinion's any less, because I don't talk to 5 superintendents or 10 superintendents. I try to be judicious in who I consult, which is the county superintendent in this case. Ms. Sands, I interrupted
When you
before.
call a
Did you?
meeting of 9 board members, you probably should see what the availability is of the other 8.
Ms. Sands, did you have
Just
something
stating a
that you wanted to
fact.
say?
I did. So to Vivian's point, it seems that you did not like the fact that this was not discussed and these 4 items were put on the agenda. So when I looked at the agenda, I thought that we were going to come here tonight and discuss the 4 agenda items. And then we would discuss it, we would have question and answer, and then we would take a vote. But 2 of those being tabled by 5 of you has robbed the rest of the board for discussing that. So that's your opinion. You keep telling Ms. Sullivan it's her opinion, okay? It's the Bergen County Superintendent's opinion of how we should move. But yet, it was your opinion and the other 4 of you to say, we're not even going to have any discussion. Besides the fact that a meeting was called for last week, and 4 of us were here, and members of the public were here, and Ms. Demetrio was here, Ms. Zeno was here, the IT staff was here, members of the public were here. It was posted in the paper, it was announced, and for 5 of you, the same 5 tonight, to not show up is very rude and disrespectful, and you sit here and talk about the board moving forward. You stood everyone up, and I don't want to hear who gave notice what day or that day or a few days before. Everybody knew the meeting was set and noticed. And if you don't feel it's important enough to move on all fronts to find a superintendent, then that's your opinion.
Ms. Sullivan, may I be recognized, please?
Yes, I think we should try to wrap up or
Yeah, this will be the
comment.
last. It'll be real
Thank
quick.
you. Thank
It'll
you.
be very quick.
Mhm.
I want to be very clear that a good majority of people sitting on this stage called me weeks ago and asked what I thought. And I was very clear that I was speaking to superintendents and that I supported an interim superintendent. So for anyone up here to say you were blindsided, you had no idea what I wanted to do, you called me and I told you. Thank you.
Ms. Sullivan?
Really quickly, Dr. Lawrence, I'm trying to.
Yeah,
it's
no,
getting
I'll be
late.
fast.
Mhm.
I just look forward to an interim superintendent being able to shadow Dr. Dionisio and gain from his expertise. And I do want to go on the record, Dr. Dionisio, expressing my congratulations and thanks to you. For those of you who haven't spent a lot of time with Dr. Dionisio, I want you to know that we're losing a true leader and an educational visionary. Since my time on the board, I have witnessed our superintendent guide, lead, and support students, teachers, colleagues, community members, and of course the board. Simply put, I cannot imagine a better superintendent. This is of no real news to anyone since he came here with an impeccable reputation. Dr. Dionisio, as you leave, please know I am honored to work with you over these past years and know that you will guide, lead, and support your new district. And we will watch from the Flow District how you're going to change the educational world. Really a loss for us, but thank you.
Oh, there is one more thing. 2 things, actually. I noticed on the agenda that it says in my folder that we are going to vote on closed and regular minutes. And then when I looked in the board packet since last Wednesday or Thursday morning when it was released, the regular minutes were not in the board packet. I do see they were deposited today at 5:30. There is not a chance in heck that I would have to read those minutes. I respectfully request that we postpone voting on those minutes until the next meeting because I have not read them. I was driving here from school where I was teaching all day and I was not notified that those minutes were put in the board packet. I don't know if other board members noticed this. Did you notice that?
I did.
I saw one
Because I
was
looked
missing
earlier today.
Yeah, I wasn't able to do that because I teach on Mondays and was literally on my feet all day, but it didn't get deposited until 5:30. So would anyone have an objection if we voted on those at the next meeting to give everyone a chance to read those minutes? Would anyone have an objection?
No.
Are we voting on the executive session meeting minutes?
Did everyone have a chance to read those? So we can vote on I can make a motion to amend the agenda to just postpone the public minutes. Is that okay with everybody? Because it
Makes
didn't get
sense.
deposited till 5:30, so just all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're just going to vote on the closed minutes then of July 24 as well. And then this agenda item, Dr. Dionisio, do I need to do anything, or did you put this in the, did you put this on the website, the one for the revised job description for the position of services for students with disabilities coordinator? Do you remember?
There was, this was emailed to the board today. This was in response to the negotiations item for the SSD coordinator. The revision to the job description that was approved back on July 24th by the board. This strikes any reference to compensation, which is included in the personnel resolution where there is a sidebar agreement up for board approval.
Okay. Is
this evening.
everybody clear on that? Does everybody understand this one? And you're okay with voting on it? Okay. All right, good. Just want to make sure. All right, then, let's go on to action items if no one else has an objection. We'll do the minutes first. I need a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 24, 2023, closed meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bogdansky.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Anch.
Mr. Bogdansky,
Yes.
Mr. DeLate,
Yes.
Ms. Semelo,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Koulikortis,
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz,
Yes.
Ms. Mariani,
Yes.
Ms. Anch,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes. Okay, so those closed meeting minutes from July 24, 2023 are approved. I need a motion to do a consent agenda for P1 through P12.
We have two tabled items. You might want to
Oh,
do just
that's right.
P1 by itself.
What are the tabled items again? P1A? What is-
B
P1A.
and D.
B and D.
B like boy, D like David. Okay, with the exception of P1, B like boy, D like David, can I have a motion for a consent agenda for P1 through P12? Is that I or 1? E1 through E15? That's got to be a 1,
E1.
right?
It was.
Miss Ina? E1 through E15, OP1 through OP3, F1 through F12, PO1, PO2. Am I including this here? P13 would have to be added, right? Or is it already in here?
It's already in there.
Usually she's ahead of me. Where is it? Where is P13?
No, it's on.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not, right?
It was in the old one.
So I
It's
have
not
to
in the new
add it.
one. You have to add it.
Okay, so I'm asking for a consent agenda, just to be clear. P1 through P12 with the exception of P1, B, and D, E1 through E15, OP1 through OP3, F1 through F12, PO1 through P02, and P13, which is your agenda item. I have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Bogdansky, thank you.
Second.
Dr. DeLate, Dr. Lorenz, sorry, it's getting late, I'm getting tired. All right, Ms. Demetrio.
Mr. Bogdansky,
Yes.
Mr. DeLate,
Yes.
Ms. Semelo,
Yes.
Ms. King,
I just want to be clear, Angela, this is with the two tabled items?
yeah, this is
It's
for
just
the
for the
consent
consent.
agenda.
Oh, we're just for the consent. Okay, yes.
Ms. Colacortis?
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz?
Yes.
Ms. Mariani? Yes. Ms. Anch?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to do the actual substantive vote on the consent agenda, and we've excluded those tabled items. Anybody want to
So voted.
do my motion? Yes, thank you.
Second.
Who is that? Mr. DeLate? Yes?
Ms.
Okay. Thank
Ms.
you.
Mr. Bogdansky?
Yes.
Mr. DeLate?
Yes.
Ms. Emilo?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Colacortis?
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz?
Yes.
Ms. Mariani?
Yes.
Ms. Anch?
Yes to all except in E2. I vote yes to all the new courses, the English 1 Literacy Lab and the Algebra 1 Skills Lab CP, and no to the other courses in E2.
Okay.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes. All right, so the agenda passes. Where are we up to now? It's getting late. I'm so sorry, everyone. We're up to the second public comment, but I need a motion to open that.
So moved.
Ms. Anch was the movant. I just need a second. You want to be the second? Mr.
Second.
Ms. Mariani. Okay, thank you. All right, anyone have public comment for the second time? I don't have to reread the instructions, I hope.
Hi, Kathy Schwartz, Franklin Lakes. I just have a procedural question about the voting. Ms. Anch, you voted yes to a consent agenda, and then you pulled something out. I don't think it makes sense. I think if you're going to not vote yes for something or vote differently for something, you should not vote yes to a consent agenda. And then if I understood correctly, Ms. Anch voted yes to half of E2 and no to half of E2? I didn't think you could split a motion and vote yes and no to specific things within a motion. I've never heard of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Karen Nash, Franklin Lakes. The whole time that I've been coming to these meetings, I have not heard a lot about the community that voted all of you onto the stage right now. It's always about your opinion, what you think, how you feel. But these people in our community voted you in for a reason. Seemed like the board flipped there for a while. And I supported that because a lot of their beliefs I'm in tune with. I believe in myself. So I wonder if a lot of you that are sitting there right now are speaking for the people that voted for you. I feel like all of you are up there fighting with each other, and I've been saying this the whole time. The audience feels it, and there's just so much anger. I don't blame the superintendent for leaving. I know nothing. I'm new. I'm a grandma. I was a stay-at-home mom for years. I worked at IBM, and I did a lot of things before that, but I haven't been in the business world for a long time. But the feeling that I get is just ugly. The fighting is horrible. I wish that you all could come to a place where you could be together. I wish I could hear more about what the community thinks as well. You're asking people, you're making these major decisions, asking people, but not the people that voted you in. I don't think I'm gonna come to the meetings anymore. It's just too stressful for me. I wanted to do this for my granddaughter, my cousins, and the people that live in town, who have the same beliefs that I do. I got a look last week when no one showed up, 5 of you or 4 of you that didn't show up, from somebody that obviously believes in your side. I have never I'm 60 years old. I'm a grandma. I'm just here to learn, to participate, make a few observations. But honestly, I don't want to be looked at like that anymore. I don't do that to people. I have said a couple things about one individual up there, and I will admit that. But to give me the look that I gave, it's chasing me away. This is not fun for me. This is really causing a lot of anxiety. So I'm not coming back until things chill a little bit. I really hope for the best for all of you. I thank the superintendent for his work. Even if I don't believe in some of it, at least he was here and he seems to be popular. But I'm done with this. It's too much for me. I was thinking of running at some point because I'm retired and I have time and I love my kids and my grandchild, but you've all made it so stressful. It's too much.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Philomena LaForgia, Oakland. So, oh, sorry. It's my son calling me. Sorry about that. So I really don't know what to say to Dr. Dionisio. We started our journey together, and now he's leaving. I'm not surprised. What's frustrating is hearing all the accolades about him when I know better, when I know that there were many people on that board that tried their best not to have him come here. And so it feels like I'm isolated, and I'm the only person that knows that. But I could share that, and I have been sharing it. What happened tonight was a power play. And like that person just said, it has nothing to do about the students. It has nothing to do with this community. It's a power play against Mr. Badansky and Vivian King. See, they have a mutual understanding right now because they both want to be in charge of the next superintendent. So they are united in that front, and that's why they voted this way. That's why she set it up and he agreed. And they're gonna sit back and decide and make it seem like it's best for the students, but they both have a plan. And the minute this passed, now they're enemies because he's waiting for her not to get elected. And you're right, Mr. Badansky, I'm gonna help you, not Vivian Union King. I'm definitely gonna help you. But I really don't want to because you're playing the power play too, because you want to become the person that elects the new superintendent. But both of you should be ashamed of yourself. And all of you should be ashamed of yourself because what this district really needs is another superintendent. Perhaps someone like Dr. Dionisio, perhaps someone, I warned you, Dr. Dionisio, someone that can really break through this terrible, terrible hold on this district. I will not come back after I make sure she gets voted out, and I wish everybody the best. But this district is really, really dysfunctional. And when I leave, I hope Kathy Schultz leaves too, and I hope Margaret Bennett leaves too, because I've never met two more destructive, dark souls in my life. And
excuse me.
And Margaret Bennett wants to sit here and say how excited she is that Mr. Dionisio is here and how sad he is for leaving. Well, we all know different. We all know different because her venom spews constantly. Before he came here, she spewed it with the lawyers, and she is part of the covenant, which is Vivian Union King. So not Vivian Union King.
Thank you so much. Anyone else wish to speak?
Make it quick. Elliot Bannon, Wyckoff. I just want to set the record straight. Everybody keeps saying that Dr. Dionisio left because there's dysfunction. For all we know, Dr. Dionisio might have already interviewed for a job way back in December or February, in which case all of this is ridiculous. So it's all speculation. It's all speculation. It's got to stop. Really, seriously. I feel like Rodney King when I say, can't we all just get along? Seriously. Come on, let's stop making up facts. Let's stop making up things. Unless you can present something, let's stop giving our opinions and just make decisions based on facts. Present things to us, not on how you feel, but what you can prove. Otherwise, say, hey, this is my opinion. This is what I think. Otherwise, it's not doing anybody any good anywhere. That's it. It's quick. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Hi again, Vicki Holst, Franklin Lakes. I just want to speak to the comments that were made about elected officials. I was an elected official in Franklin Lakes for 6 years. We are elected to represent the town. The Board of Education trustees are elected to represent the town, but they are not elected to take straw polls of the town throughout their years in their candidacy. They are elected to learn from the administrators and make the best choices based on what the administration and the school professionals teach them. Their job is to find the need for a light bulb, not to screw in the light bulb. So really none of us, including myself, can speak to what actually happened. Only the people that are currently sitting on the board can. It's really frustrating to listen to the narratives that somehow people who were on this board in the past know what's going on now, because they don't. I don't know what's going on this board just because I was on another board. But I do know that each of you were elected to represent your towns, and the community, the people who elected you, have to then trust that you're going to make the best decisions based on what you learn. You don't need to be beholden to anybody who voted for you or against you. And it's just frightening to hear that kind of language being presented. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Joel Anch, Franklin Lakes. This is my opinion. It does not reflect the opinion of Franklin Lakes Town Council. Another great show tonight. I'm sure everybody had a great time coming here. Good luck, Dr. D, down in Fairlawn. I'm sure you'll do great. The most important role of the BOE is to hire a superintendent. I find it extremely unprofessional and disappointing that a majority, the new majority of the board, failed to show up at the special meeting last Wednesday. While Mrs. Koulikortis had no problem zooming in from wherever she was overseas for hours on end against the policy that she voted against, she's one of the board members that couldn't make it. Vivian Uden-Kane came down from the real mountains for some important meetings. She couldn't make it. I think the public deserves an answer tonight from the board majority. Mr. Bodansky, Ms. Uden-Kane, Ms. Koulikortis, Mr. DeLate, Dr. Lorenz, as to why they did not show up and wasted not only the public's time, but the district employees' time and resources. It's been 2 weeks since the superintendent resigned. Now you're just starting to talk about the process to replace him now, and apparently tabling everything along the way. On what Ms. King said, well, we have a plan. But what plans we? And who are you talking about? You said, we have a plan. Did you already talk to a whole bunch of other people on the board about your plan? I'm kind of curious on the flyer that you have for your campaign that says, say no to extremists on the board. I'd like to know who those extremists are and what they're doing to be extremists. On your flyer, this is what you're running on, calling them extremists. NJGPA standardized English and math tests. English, 8.1% of the students failed. Math, 23% failed. Shouldn't we have students 100% ready? While it's better than last year so far as passing, let's keep in mind that the score is now 725 and not 750. Our superintendent has a strategic plan that has reimagined time first and teaching and learning dead last. There's only one thing that we're here for, teaching and learning. It's the only reason they were in school. And the only other thing that should probably be on the strategic plan is the disparity between the two high schools. And tonight was probably one of the first nights I actually heard anything that was really done for the students by all the teachers that were here that put all their stuff together for them. And that was a kind of refreshing thing to hear once, because I never hear much else that's ever done for the students around here.
Thank you so much.
Cynthia Phillips, Wyckoff. I have so many notes, I don't really know where to begin, so I'm just going to begin where I wanted to start 2 hours ago. I would like to know how many parents filled out the curriculum content form in 2021, 2022, when they had actual links and they could actually see something. Because I went through that curriculum. How could I make a comment if I have no resource links? I sent an email to Dr. Dionisio on August 8th and the whole board. No one told me, oh, you can just copy and paste a link and it magically appears the exact resource that the teacher's going to use, which I find fascinating. I'm going to try that when I get home. The 2021-22 curriculum already had very high CUSAC scores as told to us and admitted to us by that current board. Gender ideology is not science. It is a personal belief. Climate change is not settled science. Yet our curriculum has these ideologies in every unit and in every lesson plan, it appeared to me, from the ones that I looked at. I spoke to the Bergen County Superintendent, who apparently nobody cares about his opinion, and he explained to me and to other parents that the statute reads at an appropriate place. And that could mean everywhere, or it could mean in as little as one assignment or one lesson, and you would meet the standard. But our school district chose to put it in as many places as humanly possible. So last year, I met a teacher from Ramapo at a function, and I was sharing with her my concerns about the links and the resources and how I just thought it was really very, very progressive and very left-leaning. I told her about a Caitlyn Jenner resource that was in social studies, and it was to discuss, about Caitlyn Jenner coming out, which made no sense to me. I also discussed the 1619 project. And by the way, the 1619 project, it does not ask for opposing, parents who don't support that, they're not asking for opposing views on slavery. They want you to tell true historical history. The 1619 Project very clearly says that the United States of America was founded upon slavery. That is a lie. America was founded on freedom from the tyranny of the British. That is evident in documents and museums. So when I told her this, she said to me, did they send you the second Dropbox link? And I said, what do you mean? There's a second Dropbox link. I have asked this question to Dr. Dionisio many times. So while the Dropbox link might not be a magic box,
Sorry, Mrs.
it can act like one.
Anyone else wish to speak? Did you want to finish, Mrs. Phillips, since no one else wants to speak? Okay, I just wanted to offer since you had run out of time and no one else wished to speak. All right, can I get a motion to close public comment? And I didn't have any answers to any questions. Dr. Dionisio, did you have anything that you wanted to say before?
I have nothing.
Okay. So can I have a motion to close public comment from anyone?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bogdansky. Thank you, Ms. Anch.
Mr. Bogdansky.
Yes.
Mr. DeLate.
Yes.
Ms. Emilo.
Yes.
Ms. King.
Yes.
Ms. Koulikortis.
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz.
Yes.
Ms. Mariani.
Yes.
Ms. Anch.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes. All right, that leads us to any board comments at this time.
I'd like, Ms. Sullivan, may I speak?
Yes.
I just would like to say that I think it's very simplistic to have the opinion that our superintendent left because of a few board members. I'm not that powerful that I think that me being on this board caused him to decide to go to another district. And I'd like to give him more credit than that, to be honest. But I think prior to this board, we had some superintendent issues as well. So can't blame that on us, we weren't here. But I'd like to just remind everyone that on January 5th, when I made a motion, my motion was actually to benefit the people in the audience. My motion was to change the wording for public comment to be public comment on anything, any item. It didn't have to be an agenda item. So for all these people that think that on January 5th, we came in here and did horrible things, you might not know that some of the things we did were actually good things. So I'm just speaking about my motion, and my motion made it possible so that if there were students in the audience, they didn't have to wait until the second public comment to be able to talk about whatever they wanted to talk about. Maybe a volleyball team that wanted to talk about something that wasn't on the agenda, they would have had to wait until the second public comment, which could have been 10 o'clock, 10:30. Very late for a student, for sure. So I would just like to say I think that's a little unfair, that what's floating around out there is that we came in on January 5th, and I say we because obviously, there's a group that you all think are in this for some other reason other than the students. But that's just not so. So just want you all to know that. And I wish you good luck, Dr. Dionisio.
Thank you so much. Considering the time, it's midnight, does any other board member really feel like they need to make a comment? I didn't realize it's actually after 12. No? Okay. So the next scheduled meeting is Monday, September 11th, which will be a regular public meeting at Indian Hills High School auditorium. And then after that, there's a scheduled meeting for Thursday, September 28th, which is a regular public meeting at the Ramapo High School cafeteria. I need a motion to adjourn this meeting of Monday, August 28, 2023.
So moved.
Ms. King, thank you.
Second.
Need a second.
Second.
Dr. Lorenz, thank you.
Mr. Bogdansky.
Yes.
Mr. DeLate.
Yes.
Ms. Amalo.
Yes.
Ms. King.
Yes.
Ms. Koulikortis.
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz.
Yes.
Ms. Mariani.
Yes.
Ms. Anch.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes, thank you, board members, administrators, and staff for coming. Thank you, everyone in the video room and in our security, and thank you, public, for attending. Have a nice evening.